Pipe Dreams podcast. We're here, Barber Motorsports Park. Big shout out to the guys for giving us a space. We're staring at a Super Mono, which is a extremely expensive Ducati, and some really old BMW. We're up in the design studio. Yeah, it's a pretty special place. We're pretty lucky with some of the places we get to do these things, huh?
Honestly, I'm like still pinching myself. Like, I thought, the couple of the last podcasts, our studios were really, really cool. But this is like what we dreamed of, is being able to travel and do this remote setup in cool places. Like we have Porsches behind us driving at Barber. We're in the museum corner, at an absolute golf resort of racetracks. And I mean, we got a great guest that's going to come on here. This is everything we dreamed of with Pipe Dreams.
Dreams are coming true, dude.
So, but before we get into our amazing guest, I feel like I always use that. Always.
You do.
Let's give a shout out to some of our partners.
Yeah, Yuasa Battery, the most trusted battery in power sports since 1979. For over 45 years, Yuasa has delivered power, reliability, and passion at every turn. Yuasa supplies power sports batteries to more OEMs and riders than all our competitors combined in the US and globally. The reason is simple: premium quality, unmatched reliability, long life, and advanced engineering with years of application expertise. Yuasa Battery, setting the standard for power sports batteries since 1979. Each and every day starts with
Yuasa.
Yeah, I like when we line that up. It just works out good.
It's big.
Find your battery or your local Yuasa retailer via yuasabatteries.com.
And then we've got Gulf Point Advisors, a forward-thinking wealth advisory firm. Founded in 2016, Gulf Point Advisors, a New Orleans-based boutique investment firm led by longtime listener Tris Millard, helping clients nationwide get on track with their financial goals, whether it's investing, planning for the future, or just making smarter money decisions. Tris has been a longtime listener of the pod for a while and reached out after hearing some of our conversations about our financial side of racing, the highs, the lows, the regrets, and the wish I had invested sooner moments, like myself and Cory have. He wanted to support what we're building here while also offering his expertise to our audience. The best part, Tris understands racers. He knows the thrill of burning through a set of fresh tires on the weekend, and he's not here to judge. He's here to help you make sure your money is working hard. Your money is working as hard as you do. Tongue twister. If you have financial questions or want to learn more about the benefits of professional money management, call our good friend Tris at 603-731-3230 or email tris@gulfpointadvisors.com.
Gulf Point Advisors, investing with purpose. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor. New Edge Advisors LLC and Gulf Point Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial. Jimmy, I still don't have any money to invest. I'm not sure why.
Dude, because you
just got engaged, dude. You'll get it soon.
Listen, dude, you got to spend a couple months
They
coming
said,
up.
I met with Tris. He said, let's regroup in a couple months after the wedding. And I said, you know what, Tris, I think that's a good idea.
And then
I think maybe now is not the best time for me to just invest.
I think you're missing your money moves right now, but it's all right. I think
Big time.
The good thing is if you get in a little bit every time, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then also this podcast is presented by Rise Moto.
Yes.
Thailand Moto Tours is a boutique tour experience operating since 2017 out of northern Thailand, specifically Chiang Mai. We offer boutique road and enduro style tour packages where we spare no expense in giving our guests the experience of a lifetime. We've hosted riders from all backgrounds on tours, but have been fortunate to also professional racers, including Colin Edwards, Alaman holder Peter Hickman, Pikes Peak lap rag holder Rennie Skazebrook?
Yeah, I
know Rennie. His last name. And then Sean Dillon Kelly, SDK baby, is gone. So if you want to get in on some Thailand tours, I've been to Thailand. It is an amazing place to go. And I would love to do a tour there on motorcycles. That would be super cool.
Would be super cool. Rise Moto also is a distributor for KYT helmets, I believe, and support a lot of the riders in our paddock through KYT USA. So, Jimmy, let's get into it. We got a big one. One of my first teammates, actually, believe it or not.
This is big.
I don't know if you knew that, but we got Cory West here. Super excited teammate of yours now on the Saddlemen Harley-Davidson team. Previous champion in the Super Hooligan class. You kind of took away the number 1 plate. A little bummed for him on that one. I would be upset. I'm surprised he's even here, honestly.
Dude, you're bombing this intro. Today's guest is Cory. We got to give this guy justice. Today's guest is Cory West, one of the most respected grinders and longest running veterans in modern American motorcycle racing. Cory's story is the opposite of an overnight success path. He came up through AMA paddock during one of the toughest periods financially for American road racing, surviving through privateer rides, substitute opportunities, uncertain seasons, and years where simply making it to the next round was a part of a challenge. Over time, Cory built a reputation of one of the most versatile riders in the paddock, capable of jumping on almost anything and finding speed. Superbike, super sports, baggers, super hooligans. If it had 2 wheels, Cory could race it.
Let's go.
Welcome to the show, baby.
Gave me goosebumps buddy.
We need some background music building that up in the background, huh?
I feel good, man.
Yeah.
I'm fucking hyped.
That was a good intro. I appreciate that.
Welcome to the show, dude.
Yeah, thank
welcome
you.
to Pipe Dreams.
Thank you. I'm an avid listener. I've listened to them all, so
I love that.
stoked to be here. Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Just hearing, we were talking with Anthony for a while, and just he's kind of similar in like what he's trying to accomplish with his whole road race support thing. I don't know if you're familiar with what he started, but
Yep.
it's been a fun. It's really cool. And guys like you and Jake are, I know you guys listen to all the pods, but it's always fun to just get a little bit of the hype up after you guys listen to one that you like or whatever the case is. So
Yeah, I mean,
appreciate it.
it's just so cool to like get people on here and hear their real story. You know, let's hear the backstory, like where'd they come from, how did they get where they are, and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, well, I know you've been wanting to get on. I know you got some bones to pick, some shit to get off your chest. So we're here for it, dude. We're stoked.
I mean, I'll answer pretty much about anything if you got some questions you're thinking about. But just been doing it a long time, man. Been in this paddock off and on for 25 years now. So
and now you're going overseas racing. The Bagger World Cup.
Who would have thought?
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Getting to do the Bagger World Cup. It's kind of a bucket list, lifelong dream. It's kind of been up there on the list for a long time to be able to compete in a full season of a world championship.
Yeah.
And, I kind of gave that dream up for the most part. There's no way that's ever going to happen now. And then, Harley started this series and we get to go race all these fun tracks in Europe. So
I think it's super cool. And do you feel like you're still learning at this, like where you are in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're riding crazy bikes, so it's every time I ride one of those things is a learning experience. But it's just super fun. If I was still riding sport bikes, I'd probably be over it.
Yeah.
But just getting to ride stuff that originally wasn't meant to do what it's doing now is it's just super fun, and the progression, we're going so fast on these bikes now. It's crazy. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's insane to watch. I mean, I'm sure. How has it been watching those like the Bagger Cup guys? Like those guys are obviously it's totally foreign to them. So seeing them experience it, what has that been like? Kind of knowing what they're in for before they show up and get on the thing.
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I, Lewis, we're talking about it, and Travis, and we're all just like, oh man, these guys, they don't know what they're in for. It's going to take them a while to figure it out, but like, that was naive of us to think that way. Those dudes are no joke, and we learned that very quick. Yeah. Like, I just remember the very first session at COTA during the test, and like, I go out and I'm like, I'm just going to throw a lap down and it's just going to blow everybody's mind. And I come down the front straight and I'm like, yeah, dude, we're getting it. Then I come in, I'm like, where am I at? P8 already. Like, that didn't take long. But, different bike, different tires. It wasn't just a walk in the park.
Yeah. It's kind of funny hearing you say that, though. Even like as many years as you've been doing it, still having that like little bit of bravado that's kind of like that never goes away,
Yeah.
Like, machismo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gotta have it, or else you're just gonna get squashed.
Yeah. Why be out there, right?
Exactly.
But it's still funny to hear nonetheless.
Yeah.
You guys are going to Magello in a couple weeks, right? Is that the first kind of like international round? Yeah.
Yep. So I'm actually leaving Thursday after Barber, taking the whole family. We're doing the Italian vacation. We're going to go experience. So, I've been to Europe done some stuff over there in the past, but never been to Italy. And honestly, 3 of the 5 countries I'm going to, I haven't been to before. So pretty stoked on it. It's going to be rad.
I feel like you could probably do like a little bit of a behind the scenes vlog kind of thing. It'd be like, like Clark Griswold's family vacation, but it'd be like going Bagger World Cup racing. Like if we had the marketing money to put behind that, I would definitely get on board.
It'd be super fun. And yeah, I'm taking the whole family. So it's going to
get in, Clark.
This first one's going to be crazy. Nothing like taking a 19-month-old Tyler to Italy.
Yeah, that's gotta be a little daunting. I would imagine just racing in general, with a newborn, not newborn at this point, but with a young child is probably stressful. I wouldn't know, but I'd imagine it's probably pretty stressful, let alone like the stress of going to a whole different country and navigating all that stuff. Are you a little nervous about that, or
for sure.
ready for it?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm pretty sure the way the schedule is supposed to go at Mugello is we just get to practice and qualify on Friday, and then we would do both races on Saturday.
So you're just done.
Yeah, so we get to test on Monday after the weekend's over, but Sunday is strictly for the GP bikes, and so it's going to be crazy. It's just like digest Mugello as fast as possible. That's
kind of sick, though. You get to be a spectator for Sunday at least. In some ways, it's kind of get it out of the way, get your shit over with, and you get to actually enjoy being there and take it all in.
Take it all in. Yeah. It should be
cool. Honestly, dude, it's one of the best racetracks in the world to watch from. You can see so much. The only thing bad about Mugello is the run one road in, one road out, and then you have to shit in a hole in the ground.
Really?
There's no toilets.
I raced in China, bro.
I never found one, dude. That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You raced in China. Oh.
Yeah. You did Macau and all that stuff too, right?
I went to Macau, but I didn't race
I thought you swore you did the Buell there, no?
No, but when I went back, I raced in mainland China at the Zhuhai circuit and actually raced.
Huh. How was that?
It was gnarly. It was different, but the track was pretty fun. It was like an old world endurance track.
Okay.
And so they hadn't been there in a long time. So I showed up and I was pretty close to the lap record right away. So I was like, this is going to be fun. I'm going to hurt some feelings this weekend on the EBR too. So.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Nothing more America than that.
Oh yeah, we gave him the full experience, stars and bars, baby. Let's go.
That's hysterical.
But you're Arkansas boy.
Yeah, I mean I've lived there since '95, but technically I was born in Oklahoma City, and then I grew up in Texas till 5th grade, and then
really,
yeah,
that's a little nugget.
Yeah, so my mom and dad, I don't think I was meant to happen. And then,
okay.
And, my mom was really young and it didn't work out between those two. And so they got a divorce and I ended up being with my mom. And so my mom married, remarried, married, remarried. I've got 2 siblings, I got a half brother and a half sister. We all have different dads and grew up in pretty much Dallas area and just grade school up until about 5th grade. And then some crazy... My dad always moved around and stayed close to me. He's a construction worker, welder by trade, iron worker. And so he could always pretty much go anywhere and find a job. So he always tried to stay close to me, which was awesome. Very good dad thing to do. And then, some crazy stuff happened with my mom, and so we all got separated. All of us kids got separated, and we all just kind of ended up going with our dads. And my grandmother was the one that was living in Arkansas, and so I had been to Eureka Springs on multiple occasions for vacations and holidays and all that fun stuff. And so my dad's like, let's get out of here. Let's go to Eureka Springs. And we basically just uprooted from Texas and started a new life in Arkansas.
Wow. So how old were you when that happened?
6th grade.
Oh, okay.
So 10. 10.
It's not too bad. At least so you went through high school and everything in Arkansas. Or did you go to public
school? So 6th, 7th, 8th grade, junior high, and then into high school. Yeah. But I was literally going to school in Dallas in a middle school that had I don't know, it was gigantic. We had lockers and rotating between classes and all that stuff. And then I moved up to Arkansas, and 6th grade is still elementary school.
Really?
And so I go.
Wow.
I mean, it's a town of 2,200 people, so there's not.
Yeah.
There was 72 kids in my graduating
Wow.
class, so it was like,
Everyone knows everyone.
yeah, I get put in this like elementary school class, and I'm this like, I was like a rollerblader skater kid when I was young, you know, and so like I had this crazy like shaved head. Ponytail in the back.
No
you know?
way.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Dude, bring it back.
I used to have
Bring
hair.
it back.
Yeah. So you remember the movie Airborne, the
Yeah.
rollerblading movie?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was all about it. That was all about it, dude.
That's
And so
hysterical.
yeah, that was my like shock culture into backwoods Arkansas. Just like welcome.
Was your dad raced?
Oh yeah.
Like road raced or?
Yeah. My dad was a flat tracker turned road racer.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so technically I'm fourth generation
Really?
motorcyclist in my family. Yep. So I had a great grandfather that had a Harley Davidson dealership in the 1940s
Sweet.
Wow.
in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Wow.
And then he had a bunch of children, and two of the boys, Leroy Winters, who's in the AMA Hall of Fame. He was a pioneer in the lightweight two-stroke off-road revolution. So there was a time there when everyone rode Harleys and Triumphs and BSAs, all the big heavy four-strokes off-road, and then he kind of started the whole lightweight two-stroke thing. And so he won the Jack Pine Enduro in like 1956 on a Harley 165, which was like a
what?
German DKW two-stroke thing. So he's in the AMA Hall of Fame. He was buddies with John Penton. They helped build the Penton motorcycle. He was a two-time ISTT silver medalist, which means he missed one checkpoint in 6 days of riding.
Wow.
Fuck.
So he was a bad mofo. And then his little brother, Robert Winters, was a factory BSA dirt tracker and road racer.
Wow.
So like
Big shoes.
we had off-road guy and then flat track road race guy. And then my dad's dad did a little bit of off-road riding with Leroy when he was younger. And then my dad was basically inspired by Robert, wanted to flat track. And he was, my dad was one of the top novices in the country back in the day. And then went on to do AMA Superbike, Battle of Twins, Formula One stuff. He rode one of those BMW R90
No way.
S's in Battle of Twins.
That would have been like the Reg Pridmore era then? Like
Yeah.
that?
Put it on the box at Brainerd against
course.
like, Jimmy Adamo and stuff like that back in the day. And so,
The old brainer too.
and then he was one of the, I think he was the only V-twin to qualify for the Daytona 200 one year on a Moto Guzzi. This was in like, I think I was there. It was probably like 87 or something.
Huh.
So you were gonna ride bikes.
I mean, yeah, it was probably in the cards. Yeah, I mean, it's in the blood for sure. Pop got me a P-Dub 50 when I was 4 and started riding that thing around. And yeah, I mean, he took me to some indoor dirt track stuff.
Yeah.
I did a few little hokey motocrosses in Oklahoma and stuff like that. But I don't know. I was into riding it. But then like once I got bigger, he got me like an XR80, and I was always a little guy.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, and it only took a couple fall down, let the exhaust burn my leg, and I was like,
I don't know if this is for me.
I'm pretty good at baseball. I think I'm gonna keep playing baseball. So, and I live with my mom. Like I never
Yeah.
got to really ride that much, you know.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't really like stay sharp. Didn't really know what I was doing when I'd get on
Yeah.
it. And then once I had to like shift gears and stuff, I was like, this is dumb. I just want to play baseball. So,
So that was baseball. Why did you want to play baseball? Like, did you like on TV? Did anybody?
I don't
Were you
know. It's
inspired or
like-
just like the thing to do?
it was just like something to do, and then I was good at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know. My whole life, everything that I've tried, I've been pretty good at. And so when I played baseball, I was always all-stars, you know, and when I lived in Texas, it was huge. So it
Yeah.
was just like Babe Ruth all-stars, and I was always, you know, playing state matches and all that stuff. And
What'd you play?
I had an arm on me. I started playing shortstop, and then I started playing pitcher, and then
Big.
I was kind of one of those guys that could just put me anywhere. I could play any position, but pitcher and shortstop, but a little bit of everything.
And once you moved, that was it? Kind of game over on baseball? Or?
So when we moved to Arkansas,
Yeah.
there was
Culture shock.
not a lot of people, man.
Not a lot
And
of
so,
competition.
well, not a lot of good kids in the school I went to.
Yeah.
And so like I was amped for some baseball when I got up there. I was like, finally, because like we moved up there in the winter and it wasn't baseball season. So I was like trying to fit in with everybody. So I played basketball, and that was like my first year ever playing basketball, and I was fucking terrible. Like, and I was short, you know, so it was like no good. And then I was just like, man, I can't wait for the spring. I can't wait for baseball season. And just went out there and put the hurt on a bunch of guys and was doing good, but like our team sucked. And like counting on little Thomas in the outfield to fucking throw the ball back when someone got a hold of it. It's like, dude, I could have ran out there and got the ball quicker than this kid got the ball back, you know. I'm competitive, so I you know.
Always been that way?
Yeah, for sure. Even I just remember like field day in elementary school, like lining up for the 50-yard dash or something, just coming home with all these ribbons, like, yes.
Number one.
Let's race. I'm all about it.
Yeah. Do they have winters up in Arkansas? Is it you get like a lot of snow up there?
We do. So I live in the Ozark Mountains, and so we do get all 4 seasons.
Oh, okay.
So a little different than Texas.
Yeah, I guess it's always interesting to try to like imagine Arkansas, because I feel like it could be either like you live in like the wilderness, or I feel like it also could be kind of like Texas a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of people that are like, we went through Arkansas, but if you're just on I-40, like traveling across the country east to west, you don't see anything. Cool.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That makes it interesting, because I'm kind of part of those people.
Yeah.
Which people?
I don't know what the fuck Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like,
well, so if you're
on
on I-40, if you just turn and go north like a couple hours, it just turns into the Ozark Mountains. It's beautiful. Yeah.
But also it's like Mecca of bicycles, right?
It's turned into that. Yeah. So I live in Walmart country.
Yeah.
That's where the Walmart headquarters is. And
So you've seen that grow.
Absolutely.
Because they spend a ton of money on mountain bike stuff, right? Is that their whole deal?
A ton is an understatement.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
It's unreal.
Osborne went there last year for
unreal.
the first time, and he was like, dude,
Yeah.
every
So-
side street, every...
Yeah, just like a side story. In the winters, I would work for trail building companies.
I remember that.
And Walmart's just like funding all these trail building companies. And so, you know, in the off season, I got nothing to do. I need to make some money. So I would just go help dig trails, follow the Mini X around, and rake rocks, basically.
Kind of fun.
But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I get like first pick on like, okay, we just finished this section, and we get to go test ride them and all that fun stuff.
You kind of know them, so you
and then I'd know
buddies.
the trail by the back of my hand, you know, by the time it was open. So got to do a lot of fun stuff there. And then, you know, the Waltons just kept building, and we actually got invited. So I used to work for Progressive Trail Design. That was the company I worked for. And they hired PTD to go build on the Waltons private farm, which is like 6,000 acres in beautiful part of Arkansas. And it's just amazing. Like, it's crazy because like to get to their land, you have to go down the roughest road in the world.
Oh, really?
And so I'm like driving out there to get to this place, and I'm like, it's the freaking Waltons, man. Why don't they like fix this road? You know, like I can't believe this road is so rough to get out to this place. And then we're out there working, and the helicopter, you know, and I'm like, they don't drive. They fly out here. Duh.
That's crazy.
That's a different kind of money.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Tom Walton, him and a bunch of buddies. So I was trying to get the kid to go down for a nap the other day, and my property backs up to our city park. It's 6,000 acres. And the Waltons built a downhill mountain bike park on the opposite mountain from my place. And they also, there's a house over there that they bought. And I think they cleared some land so that they can land their helicopter over there. And so I'm trying to get the kid down, and I hear this helicopter flying around. I'm like, it's probably Tom. And, you know, about an hour later, I'm downstairs. I'm working out in the gym or in the garage. And my dog starts barking. My wife's outside, and she's like, hey, Cory, there's a bunch of bicyclists out here. And so I go outside, and the first guy that rolls up, hey, Cory, Tom Walton. I'm like, hey, Tom, what's up, buddy? Like,
No.
what can I do for you? You know, he's like, oh, we were just wondering if we could get some water. You know, I'm like, yeah, sure, if you don't mind drinking out of a hose. Like, I don't know what kind of water you need, but like, there's a spigot over there. Like,
Sick though. That's cool. That's
but yeah,
cool.
I mean,
down to earth.
if you didn't know who he was, you would just think
Yeah.
he's just another mountain bike
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
So I was like, I thought I heard the helicopter. I figured that was you. But
That's
they
pretty
literally
cool.
fly around with their mountain bikes off the side of the helicopter.
No way.
That is so cool.
It's like heli
and they down to
snowboarding.
earth people.
For the most part,
Yeah.
yeah, for billionaires.
Yeah.
Billionaires. I don't really have a lot to talk to about, with the guy, but
Hey,
he is
you like
super
motorcycles,
cool.
man?
Yeah, I mean, I've hit those guys
Yeah.
up so many times, like, dude, we should put Austrail's logo on the side of the helmet, and they're like, yeah, we don't really sponsor individuals.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
All right.
I wish you guys like motorcycle racing.
Right? That's insane.
Yeah.
Getting back on the family thing though. So, like, at what point did you actually start road racing?
So when my dad and I moved to Arkansas, he always had like a street bike. And like he always kept some photos around, and so there's always like a cool picture of him dragging his knee and stuff, and I was like, man, that's cool. That looks so cool. And when it was 1995, he took me, it was my summer vacation, he took me to Laguna Seca for World Superbike. But he used to always take me to races, and like Oklahoma City half mile was like, we always went because it was in the summertime and it wasn't too far from Dallas. And so I was always doing flat track stuff to go watch with him, Camel Pro. We were buddies with Ronnie Jones, and so we could get in the pits and all that cool stuff. And then he took me to Laguna for World Superbike in '95, and that was like, that's when it started for Cory. Like, I got everybody's autograph.
Yeah.
Like, I met Colin Edwards there. We were flying a big Texas flag in our pit because we were camping there at the track up near in between turn 5 and 6. And yeah, man, by the time I came home, I had all the posters on my wall, and I was just like, dude, I can't wait. Like, I would just love to do that someday, And
95. What would have you guys like took an RV cross country or something?
my dad had an old Suburban and his single axle open trailer, and so yeah, he had a Honda Hawk.
It's just like, we're going road tripping.
650,
We're going to races.
Big road trip all the way out to California. Yeah, we did all kinds of cool stuff on the way there, but Laguna was the highlight, and then we did Sequoia National Park. We stayed a night in Vegas, and then came back through, hit Oklahoma City half mile on the way home, and then he dumped me back off with my mom, and then he went back to work. But it wasn't much longer after that, we moved to Arkansas, and so the roads in Arkansas are incredible. Like, we have some of the best street bike riding in the country. And so just riding on the back with my dad when I was a kid was always just so much fun. And like, just hearing how he would shift, and just he'd shift his weight, so I'd shift my weight, and just like, I got used to doing that at such a young age that once it was time for me to start riding, I picked it up really quick. And so I basically was a street squid before I ever started road racing.
Oh, no way.
So what age did you get your first road race bike?
14?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of late.
Yeah, for sure. So I started riding flat track first.
Yep.
So, okay, we got to back it up just a little bit. So in Arkansas, legally you can ride a 250 or smaller when you're 14.
Okay.
And so I had a 250 Ninja when I was like 13 and a half.
That's insane.
And so
That's insane.
there was this big, they used to do a big Ducati rally in Eureka Springs in my hometown. And so it was literally like the day that school was out for the year. I'm walking down to the house, and there's a bunch of Ducatis in the parking lot, and there's this little red Ninja with purple wheels. And I was like, whose is that? And my dad's like, whose do you think it is? I'm like, no way. Like, and he's like, but you got to get a job. You got to pay for it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like,
not yours yet.
He's like, it's $78 a month, And I don't know, what do they cost? $3,000 or something.
Yeah.
So I had to go get a job, busting tables, washing dishes, or whatever it took. But it's a tourist town. It was easy to get a job, but I had a Ninja. It was sick. And so the first like big group ride, I go out with all these dudes on Ducatis and stuff. And my dad had a TL 1000 when those first came out.
Wow.
The half faired one, like the dark green, the
okay.
TLS.
Yeah.
And so he gives me the talk like, you just ride your own ride. Like, you don't have to be up here. You just settle in, do your thing. And so we get going, and I'm like way in the back, and these ding dongs, and I'm like, screw this. And I just start dicing people up. And like, by the time we get to the first stop, I'm like P4 or something. My dad's like, what are you doing up here? I was like, those guys are going so slow. And so it didn't take long. All of my dad's buddies were just like, you got to get him on the racetrack.
So is there tracks up there?
Hallett.
Dude, I raced Hallett.
Over in Tulsa.
Wow, it gets hot.
Yeah. So that was like the closest place to go. Tulsa's like 3.5 hours from where I live.
And what's that CMRA
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Or it was?
Yeah. And so we knew Sam McDonald. The McDonald's.
Yes.
You know, they're
I raced
from
him.
Tulsa. And so they loaned me some leathers from like the 80s or something. And I went and did a track day there first. And then, so we were all the time, so we're like, I want to go road racing. My dad's like, okay, well, we're going dirt tracking first. And I'm like, but I don't want a dirt track.
Yeah.
I want to go road racing. And he's like, but this is the way. Okay. And so it was winter time when we decided this. And so he starts taking me to these indoor flat tracks in the wintertime over in Tulsa, Muskogee, Sapulpa, all these little shithole rodeo arenas. And I sucked. I was riding like an XR100 at first, and I was terrible. And I just remember the very first one, we show up, and my dad like borrows this XR100 from somebody, and we get out in the parking lot, and I've got these road race leathers, and he's like, all right, show me what you got.
What?
What do you mean? And so I'm like, second gear, no form. I have no idea. I ride street bikes, you know? And so I'm just like putting around in this gravel parking lot, and he's like, nah, come here. I'm like, what? And my dad, you gotta, if you don't know my dad back then, like cut off sleeve shirt, like Mack truck
It's actually what I'm envisioning without you
Wrangler
saying
blue
this.
jeans, ironworking boots, you know, and he's like, give me that. And so no helmet, you know, I'm in this whole kit, you know, and he's like, no helmet. He's like this, and he gets on, he's just like, burr, burr, just like, and I'm like, oh my God. He cuts like 3 laps, and it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's like, here, try that. And I'm just like right back to just like, like, dude, there's no way. So then the race night starts, and I go in this arena, and I'm just getting smoked. And this kid that was there was just like so fast. And I'm like,
There's always one.
And I'm like, who the F is that kid? Danny Eslick.
Was it?
No way.
Slick.
Yeah. He's riding a KX85 with a tie down going from the rear axle over the seat to the other side. Yeah. And it's all choppered out, tie down strap over the rear of the seat, and he is just killing everybody. I'm pretty sure he lapped me, you know, and I'm just like, I have no business here. I'm terrible, you know?
That's crazy.
Was he the same back then, Slick?
Just a miniature version.
Really? I just imagine him being like with a mullet, like just coming right out like 7 years old.
Him and his older brother, AJ, they had like matching leathers, and like AJ was probably riding the pro class by then, but I want to say Danny's 3 years younger than me. And so I was 13 and Danny's 10 and just smoking me, you know? And so we went to a couple more. I was terrible. And then friends of friends, we're all talking like, we got to get Cory on something better than this XR100. So Ronnie Jones is like, hey, I've got my brother David Jones's old 125.
This is the same Ronnie Jones that's doing the
national number 16. Ronnie Jones.
Yeah.
Wow. And so David, his younger brother, got killed in a flat track accident long time ago. But they had this super trick Suzuki air-cooled 2-stroke flat tracker, and they're like, you guys can borrow it. Like, just take it, ride it. I'm like, okay, cool. So I start riding this thing, and it is an absolute light switch.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It has like this much power, and it is way up there, and we're taking it to these indoors. And so I'm like I still sucked. Like, I just kept crashing the thing. It was terrible.
Did you know at the time that your dad was he a badass like racer at that point? Like, did you know like, your whole family lineage and all that? Like, did you kind of have it like,
yeah,
like you were like looking at them like, fuck, I gotta get there?
Well, for sure. But like, I remember going to a few flat tracks, indoor flat tracks, when my dad was still racing, when I was riding the PW.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember my dad being a bad motherfucker. Like,
just could do it.
yeah.
That's
but then
cool, though.
Yeah, for sure. But then but it was a very vague memory because I was like 4 or 5, you know?
Yeah.
But then there was all these people that would come up and like, because they hadn't seen my dad in forever, you know? And now we're going to these flat tracks again. And they're like, oh, what's going on? Yeah. And they're like, boy, your dad.
He's a bad man.
Oh, yeah. And he's like,
a bad
oh,
man.
yeah, he'd win the heat race, main event, dash for cash, and the fight afterwards.
He was one of those. Huh?
Was he a scrapper?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That era of growing up like doesn't really exist anymore. You know, like you don't really, you're not gonna get
The
a kid.
fist fight era.
yeah. No, like my dad was like a badass. You know, like I don't know, like what like James's kid's gonna grow up and be like, my dad shaves his legs and rides bicycles. Like, you know what I mean? Or like my kid's gonna be like, yeah, my dad dyed his hair orange. He was fucking cool. You know?
Cheetah hair.
Cheetah hair. You know, like it's not like it used to be back then. You know, it's not
Yeah.
like going to the dirt track and like you said, like won all the races and then won the fight after. Like that just you don't hear that
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's just not. You know, those are cool like eclectic stories. You know what I mean?
For sure. And lots of them, you know. The more I went to those dirt track races, someone else would come out of the blue and tell me some crazy story. So
Yeah.
I feel like
man.
I feel like that's a dirt track thing too. Like
Yeah.
like the dirt track stories are
They're
just
classic.
they're
Legendary.
They are by far the best stories ever because they just have gone through time in a short amount of time. They've like it's like 1 year was like 10. They're like, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, what year was that? Oh, a couple years ago, and you're like, fuck that. I thought that was 20 years ago. You know
That was
what I
in
mean?
85, bro.
Like, fuck, dude.
Now, what about like you said all the other your uncles and all that? They all raced, right?
Yeah.
So were they around though? Like, were you learning stuff from them too, or is it just you and your dad?
So Leroy had passed away when I was pretty young, but then Robert was the youngest of the Winters family. And so, excuse me. So yeah, Robert was around and he was kind of one that we would stop by his house and he'd kind of like, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, so you want to be a road racer, huh? And I was like, yeah, I really want to. And he was like, you can die doing that shit, right?
Really?
What?
And that was like one of the first things he said. And I was just like, whoa. Yeah. But he wanted me to know like how
Yeah.
serious racing is. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, baseball and
Yeah.
bubble gum,
Yeah,
like,
how old were you hearing that for the first time? Like 12 years old?
13, 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably 13 because I still hadn't really set foot on a road racer yet.
So what age was it where you were like, that's what I'm gonna be? Like when did that kind of dream start developing? I
I mean,
guess
you had to have rode a bike first, right? You couldn't have. I mean, the dream
just
sounds
being a
like.
motorcycle racer in general.
Oh
though,
no,
I
dude,
guess.
that was Laguna, baby.
Well, yeah, that
Laguna,
was,
dude.
That's what lit the fire. But like, I still was clueless. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea. And like, my dad's making me go do these dirt track races that I'm freaking terrible at.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see any light at the end of this tunnel yet. So we're chasing this winter indoor flat track series in Oklahoma. And then some friend of ours from Oklahoma City are like, well, are you guys going down to Texas? And we're like, what's going on down there? And they're like, well, we're going to race. There's a 1/4 mile short track, Ross Downs. And I was like, wow, something big. Like I've only ridden in these stupid little rodeo arenas. And so we make the trek. We drive all night. We get there super late. We sleep in the truck, just like recline the seat. I was like, oh, the glamorous life of a road racer, But that's when it started to happen. Because like now we're outdoors. Now I can actually grab some gears and carry some speed. And I won my first race.
No way.
Yeah. So it was like,
On the 125.
yeah, just wringing that thing's neck. And it's not like there was a ton of people there, but it was like, okay, like
That's cool.
the kid that used to beat me at every single indoor, I just smoked him. So like, give me some speed.
Yeah.
Like, let's go outside.
It's crazy how that
like,
feeling is like so contagious too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right?
like,
That's all,
now
it takes
we're
a little
talking.
spark and then it gets going.
Cause like I remember all my buddies at high school, like I was probably a freshman. And they're like, "Oh, whoa, you're racing, yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, we went racing and
I won."
And they're like, "Well, how'd it go?" And I was like, I crashed again, you know.
Oh,
And then
really?
so then I go down to Texas and I win that race, and I come back and they're like, "Well, how'd it go?" I'm like, "I won," you know. Like, they're like, "No kidding," you know. So then it was like going into the springtime, and so my dad had been seeing this guy. He had this CR250. It was like one of the first like DTX bikes that we had really seen. It was a 97 aluminum frame, Screaming Eagle CR250. And so my dad bought it from the guy. And so we had to get off this air-cooled bike because we just kept blowing it up.
Yeah.
You know, this thing was ancient. It was from the 70s. And so we pretty much retired that thing, gave it back to Ronnie. And then my dad bought the CR250 for me to start riding. And so that's kind of what I started riding. We started doing some outdoor quarter-mile short track. I don't think I'd done really like a half mile yet. And then CMRA came to Hallett. And they're like, so there's a guy that used to help my dad, Hank Blackstock, out of Oklahoma City. He's the one that used to build the BMWs and the Moto Guzzi's and stuff for my dad to race.
Oh.
And so he was one of my dad's big sponsors, and then he became like one of my first sponsors. And so when I turned 14, there was this new series that was about to launch, and it was the Aprilia Cup Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was like, "What do you say we get one of those things for Cory?" And so I was just geeked out. I remember having like the little pamphlet for the bike and the whole thing, and I used to carry it around in my backpack at school, just like pull it out when I wasn't supposed to, and I just look at this motorcycle like, I can't wait to ride this thing. And so they ended up buying it, and so I had to go to Hallett and I had to get my Provnov license. And but we didn't have the bike yet.
Yeah.
And so we took my CR250 flat track bike to Hallett. We put the front brake on it, still had the freaking flat track bars on it.
Ding.
Put a DT8, hardest compound dirt track tire on the back. And that's what I raced the first weekend of my Provnov. And I smoked everybody in the Provnov race, and then finished like fourth in the 125 GP race.
On a 250 flat tracker.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But Hallett's like 1.8 miles. It's tiny.
Yeah.
So like I was just giving her. And like the bars were so big on that thing, I couldn't ride it like a road racer. So I was just like riding around with my foot out, and like
Original Supermoto style.
and back then, like when you got your Provnov license, you also had to work a corner during the weekend.
Oh, really?
And understand like how a corner worker has to do his job and all
That's
that
pretty
stuff.
cool.
Yeah. And so like in between sessions of me riding, I'd have to go back and work my corner. And this guy that I was working the corner with, he's like, "Dude, you should hear him when you're out there. They're just complaining that you keep putting your foot out through all the corners." And I'm like, "Dude, that's the only way I can ride that thing." And they're like, "They were going to black flag you." I'm like, "Oh, screw them. I'm not changing my style. I'm just going to keep doing it."
So Provnov is like you got to go get. That's like getting your new racing
Provisional.
license. kind
Yeah,
of thing.
wearing your yellow
Yeah,
T-shirt,
yeah, learning about the flags and the whole deal.
Yeah. So
And did you love that? Like, was that a fun thing for you to do?
yeah, it was cool. And I road raced the thing on Saturday, and then we loaded it up in the truck. We took the front brake lever off, and then I raced it flat track that same night over in Claremore and won that race too. So like we were jamming on the 250.
You're just starting to get some wins, starting to get some confidence.
Yeah, so feeling pretty good. And then Texas World Speedway, last Aprilia Cup race of the year. And so we've got the bike now. We go all the way down to College Station to do this thing. And I'm stoked, but I've got one road race under my belt at Hallett on a dirt track bike. So we show up there, and as soon as I get on that thing, I was going pretty good on it. But the people that were there racing in that class, it was Ben Spies, Ryan Landers, John Hopkins, and then people that you've probably never heard of. But like I ended up finishing 7th.
Wow.
And but the podium was Spies, Hopkins, and Ryan Landers. And I thought I was cool until I showed up there and I saw like Hopkins in his Valvoline Imgo shirt, and I was just like, who are those kids? And like, how do they have big sponsors like that already?
Right.
This is crazy. Like I thought I was young and starting early, but like I was way behind those guys.
And those guys were, I mean, I think I remember hearing the stories from Hopper back then, but they were already on like contracts basically.
Yeah.
At that point.
They were riding 600s. Already.
Yeah.
So did you know that like there was money to be made as well? Was that kind of like a prospect in your mind at that point where it was like
I was still pretty clueless.
you weren't even thinking
making money wasn't really it.
Well,
You were
because
just
this is
chasing the dream.
your first time on a real road racer.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
like your first stab at it.
And so technically we go into like registration and we're signing up for this thing and they're like, you have to have an expert license to race in this class. And I was like, yeah. Well, I did my Provnov thing last week and they were like, well, congratulations, you're now an expert.
way. No way.
So like I never even did the whole yellow plate thing. I was like straight to expert.
wow.
What?
And so, yeah, what a holy cow.
Dude, talking about baptisms of fire.
At Texas World Speedway, dude.
I know.
I don't know if you guys have ever
I've
been
been there one time on a
but, like,
125. It's scary.
I just remember coming out onto the banking on this little Aprilia Cup bike, and I'm in like pro, expert practice, and there's 600s and 1000s just like blowing my doors off. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Where was Slick during all this?
Still flat tracking.
Still flat tracking. So what was like your kind of trajectory adjacent to his at the same time? Like when did you guys always race against each other?
Yes and no. So like Danny, like AJ, his brother always had.
I didn't even know he had a brother.
Yeah, he's got an older brother. And so AJ always had like a ride. And then Danny just would show up with his leathers and then ride anything that somebody would put him on, And so some weekends he would race and some weekends he wouldn't race. But like our rivalry didn't really start until a couple years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were getting on road racing at the same time. Like you didn't follow each other up kind of the...
No, I mean, actually one of Danny's first times, we became buddies, and like he came over to visit one time and I let him ride my 250 Ninja, and that was like his first time riding a street bike.
No way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then he came to Hallett and watched me race one time. So they ended up changing the rules for the Aprilia Cup thing from the minimum age being 14, and then they bumped it up to 16. So then we had to like sit on this bike for a year and a half.
So in the meantime of you buying it and getting registered and all that, they changed the rules.
Yeah, so I got to do the last round at Texas World, and then we were gearing up for the next year to do the whole season, and then I couldn't race it. I wasn't legal.
That's so crazy.
So then Hank Blackstock bought an SV650 when those things first came out, and so
Classic.
then I had an SV and I had the Aprilia Cup bike, and we just did CMRA and Wera stuff.
So who were you racing at the time?
Just CMRA guys, pretty much. I mean, that D Superbike class on the SVs was pretty stout. So, like, I don't even really think I was winning races back then. It was just going to school, learning from all the old dudes.
It's so crazy how like that. It's kind of going back to the same thing. Like that doesn't exist anymore. Like I don't know. I'm always curious to know what's our not our generation, but this generation of kids coming up. Like they don't have. There's no Wera. Like they're not racing Wera. They're going MotoAmerica at 12 or whatever. I don't know, 13 years old now.
Well, it also feels like we had this huge like push of coaches, right? Like, and I feel like back then there was no like real coaches. There was a few, but it was like, yeah, this guy's the quickest. He'll give you a couple tips.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. And then you found somebody that was like you were close to. But I feel like we're in this thing where like you come up and you go to one of the coaches. That's the path you go up. MotoAmerica, like you either do it or you don't. You know, I feel like it's really, I don't know. It feels a little bit like Cory was saying, a little bit different. I guess now where like
not as gritty almost. I feel like in some ways, it's just like a different experience.
Well, like I feel like MotoAmerica's kind of spaced out where now like you go mini cup straight to 400 and in. Like there is no Wera.
Yeah.
Like nobody's doing anything.
You're not racing getting beat by some random old dude who's been racing for,
I remember
years.
freaking racing Wera Nationals getting fucking smoked.
Yeah. Well, there's more of a path now, it seems like, but I don't know if it's the right path.
Oh, I don't know.
Like the club race thing was good for me, and then being at the club races, I had my two bikes, but then there was always an endurance race.
Yeah.
Someone would be like, hey man, you want to ride this R1 or something, and so I would jump on that, and then we ended up meeting this guy named Jeff Harder, And he had a bunch of cool 2-strokes. And so he had these cool RS 125s. And he's like, you want to ride that? I was like, sure. And so then I jumped on that and was like, man, this thing's way cooler than that cup bike. Like, this was a real road racer, you know? And so I remember riding it at Hallett and Texas World and all these places and was like, man, that thing is badass.
So you came up full 2-stroke.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, the SV650, though, too.
Yeah.
So I was juggling a little bit of both. Yeah. But so Jeff Harder was the guy we met. He was from Texas. He had all these crazy 2-strokes, and I started winning some club race stuff, winning some 125 races, and started winning some SV races. And then he was like, what do you guys think about me buying like a TZ250 and you guys doing some AMA stuff? Well, sure. So then, 2016, when I turned 16, I was able to get my pro license. And so we actually went to Daytona I was still 15. It was October, Biketoberfest. It was the last Aprilia Cup Challenge race of the year. And I went down there and I got it on the box. I got third.
In the Aprilia Cup.
Yep. And so I want to say it was Aaron Gobert.
Wow.
Me, Aaron Gobert. There was another Aaron Clark, was a Australian guy. Jamie Stauffer, do you remember that?
So there's people coming from all over the world to come to this Aprilia
So
thing.
there was some hot Australians there. There was Gobert in there, and so I got like a crazy quad draft Aprilia Cup lap record. This guy right here.
Last one?
Yeah, still stands.
Wow.
Yes.
Hell
like
yeah.
a 207.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, so we put it on the box, and that was pretty cool. That was like the first little taste of Daytona. Like, got the stand in victory circle and all that stuff. So that's kind of what started our relationship with Harder, the Jeff Harder guy, wanting to take us to do some AMA stuff. So
what was Biketoberfest back like then? I don't think I've ever actually raced Biketoberfest, but was it pretty stacked back then? Like, as far as like, was there a lot of people and whatnot?
More or less the same. I mean, the track, all the inside's different than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like victory circle, all that stuff's different. But yeah, I mean,
Was it like a big event though?
Yeah,
it
for
was.
sure. It was formerly USA back then, and we stayed at the Shitty Days Inn on the other side of 95.
Oh yeah.
Star Boys were there, dude. The Stunners.
What?
Really?
Do you guys know?
No.
You young boys.
Well, what year was
Do you
it?
guys remember when there was like fur on people's sport bikes and they were doing
Yeah, a
stand-up
little bit,
wheelies and
yeah.
stuff? Like
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
like the first dudes to start making videos on like VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like we were staying in that Days Inn behind the IHOP or whatever, and like literally the Star Boys. I'm like, it's the Star Boys. My dad's like, who are these? You know? And so they're like doing their thing off in the parking lot. My dad brought his XR 250 down there, his Woods bike, put a fucking fake Oklahoma tag on it. And I was like, Dad, I can do all that stuff. And he was like, well, go show him. And so I'm like, get on the XR 250. I'm out there doing circle burnouts with these dudes.
Dude, that's so cool.
Initiated.
That's awesome.
So
So your TZ250, when was your first AMA race?
So yeah, it would have been the next spring.
Okay.
So 2001,
Where at?
Daytona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, what
That
was it
would've-
like going from the Aprilia Cup to a TZ250 around Daytona?
It was gnarly. So
Fuck.
we got the bike in the wintertime. I went down to Texas to ride it for the first time at Crescent.
Oh, yeah. Race there, too.
So like got a little taste of it and was just like, this thing is awesome. Like it was just, because the Cup bike was basically a street bike, you know, where the TZ was a Grand Prix bike, you know.
And what were the classes for people that don't follow from back then? Because did they have 600 as well? So it was like they had 250s and then 600s, 750s,
so
1000s.
Superbike, Formula Extreme, 750 Super Stock, 600 Super Sport, Pro Thunder, and then the 250 Grand Prix class.
Okay.
Wow. That's that's kind of a big.
It's like
Yeah.
now, kind of, but just different bikes, huh?
Yeah.
Different variations of stuff.
Yeah. But like, man, I just remember showing up thinking, I'm going to do some good. And just got smoked.
Back to the drawing board.
I just remember standing in the credential line and there was like Rich Oliver with his Team Yamaha jacket, and I was just like, who's that guy? And then didn't take long. I knew who that guy was.
Really? Because you couldn't, like, did you follow along back? Like, you watched it on TV, I guess, right? But it was really...
I mean, we used to watch the 200. I mean, my dad was pretty religious about watching Daytona 200.
Yeah, but you got to think it's like wasn't really that accessible besides like magazines and
Yeah.
like right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, just like ESPN Wild World of Sports or something.
yeah,
like
but if you didn't catch it live, you weren't catching it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, 'cause you couldn't
Cycle
record,
News.
yeah.
My dad had the weekly Cycle News, the giant newspaper.
good
That's
old
probably
days.
the biggest thing it's just a shame.
Yeah.
It's just that thing.
What, Cycle News?
The Cycle News.
Yeah.
Like
Print in general is just a
dude,
bummer.
we just had. I
miss
remember next to our toilet, we used to have just like
The
a
stack.
just a stack of Cycle News, man.
And then in the winter, I would just tear those out. That's how I started fires.
Really?
The old Cycle News. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You take everything for granted.
So were you racing against Roland Sands at that point? Because he was still there.
He was an ex-champion, but he didn't do like the full season. And so like the first time I raced with Roland was at Laguna.
That's kind of cool though, because you're
Yeah.
racing in Super Hooligan class. And
Yeah.
you used to be able to race against them. That's
I had
nuts.
to tell Roland that story. I was like, hey man, I got to race against you a long time ago.
Really?
And he's like, really?
Huh.
I was like, yeah, I was 16
Wow.
on the old number 10. But he was like the only dude in the 250 class rolling in a semi-truck.
He had a
What?
semi.
Well, he had the performance machine
Yeah.
truck, and
Oh.
it was so sick too. It was like purple flames, this giant
Really?
rig, and like 250 sitting outside.
Because his dad was pretty successful,
Yeah.
like
Machine shop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because PM Wheels was him.
PM wheels, brakes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Big Harley guy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But he was an ex-champ. Like he won that championship.
Yeah.
So you TZ 250s, Daytona. You do what, a full season, couple seasons?
Yep, did a full season of that. Did a little bit of the Pro Thunder class. We ended up building like a hot rod SV700 or something, and it just blew up all the time. But
It was you and your dad, like, or did you have like a whole crew kind of a thing?
it was me and my dad. Hank would go to some of them, and then we had a guy that was kind of helping. You know Jeff Maloney and GP Tech?
Yeah.
So Jeff had a team that was like Chuck Sorensen and Simon Turner was an Irish guy. But one of the guys that would help build their motors kind of started helping us a little bit. So he started, because our shit was slow. And then he helped started building our motors. And so like I was getting a little bit better. Had some top 10s. Finished 8th at MotoAmerica in the pouring down rain.
Sick.
That was like my first proper rain race. And it was like the longest 8 laps of my life.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
Always is there, right?
but it was pre-chicane, you know, the
No
kink
way.
in the back.
Scary.
Yeah, it's just like
What's it
so
like?
sketch, dude, in the rain.
I can't even imagine. Even now in the rain, it's sketchy going through like the back straight. I couldn't imagine.
And I ran 6th for the longest time. Like the leaders were kind of checked out, but I was like, man, I'm doing really good. And then like 2 laps to go, I'm going through 14, the last turn, and I like, yep, and it like kind of high-sided me off the outside of it, but like I held on to it with like in between my leg, you know, and I'm like dragging off and over the curb into the grass, and I'm like, oh God, and I like pulled myself back up and got back on the track. I lost a couple positions, but I still finished. I got 8.
That's cool.
So what was your first? When was like your big break, if you will? Never had one.
Years from there, yeah.
So like when did you like start making, like, were you working? Like what was the deal?
So yeah, my dad had these. He was putting up Dollar General stores for this guy.
Oh,
And so like, dude, I was working from the time I was like 14.
Well, you had to pay for that Ninja.
13, 14. No, I had my own job. And then like, but literally like my dad built our middle school in Eureka Springs.
Wow.
And so like I would, you know, I'd get out of school and the middle school was going up right next door to the elementary school. And it was literally like,
You're like, I built this place with my bare hands.
yeah, everyone's like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. And I'm like, cool. And I'd like go throw my backpack in the back of my dad's truck. And then I'd climb the ladder and I'd go meet him up on the roof and help him throw roof panels down, you know,
way.
like, I'm pretty sure that's called child labor, but
Not back then.
yeah, but like, I mean, I did iron work at a very young age. Like he put me up in the air, walking steel out and like doing shit that grown men don't do, you know? And it was not because I wanted to. It was just like, we got to get this done. Like get up there and walk that shit out, you know? And like, So
it was tough.
yeah, when I was dirt tracking, like we would go somewhere in Oklahoma and then we'd turn around and we'd come back to whatever job site we were on and we'd be working on this Dollar General store until it was done. You know, heat of the summer. My dad always had lowlifes working for him, so just working with these dudes that probably should be in jail and on drugs and shit, and just like gnarly.
Did what you had to do.
Yeah, for sure. And all I wanted to do was just go home for summer and be a kid.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really
An option. Yeah.
I had to grow up at a very young age.
Yeah. And so that was kind of how you guys were supporting racing as well at the time.
Pretty much. It was wide open. Put a lot of miles on my dad's dualies, just hitting the road, race all weekend, turn around, go back to work. And I was just like, God, I can't wait for school to start.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do this shit
to work anymore.
Yeah.
Like get a vacation.
Yeah.
So did you ever did you guys get into it quite a bit, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough relationship with that, or?
It was brutal. I mean, my dad's a hard ass, so, you know, once I got to a certain age, it was hard to, you know, when you're spending all of your time with somebody, you know, we're going to the races, we're working together, I live with the guy, like, eventually you're going to start butting heads.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he'd do his best to guide me as far as the racing goes, and I would listen to him kind of, but like it was usually super abrasive, and I was just like, whatever, I'm going to figure this out on my own.
When did you have to start figuring it out on your own? Like when did it like kind of transition into like, I don't know, a job, I guess?
So we did the 250s for a while, and then so 01 was a full season of it. We started again in 02. We really just kind of ran out of parts, started blowing shit up like crazy, and we realized that the 250s were not feasible. So then Formula USA started this Grand National Championship. Mike Kidd put that whole thing together.
I actually remember that.
So it was half road race, half dirt track for combined points. I'm like, well, shit, we could do that. So Mike Kidd put us in touch with a team that had a semi-truck, and they had Hondas. So it was when the 450 just came out. And so I jumped on a 450 Honda, and then I was racing a 600 F4i at the road race stuff. And so we just kind of scrapped the AMA, started doing Formula USA, did a bunch of that, was still doing pretty good on the dirt track side of things. But like when I went to I was doing just like local dirt tracks. And then when I jumped into the Formula USA stuff, it was like, well, Dad's like, go see what heat race you're in. I'm like, looking, I'm like, Heat 2, who's in it? Chris Carr, Willie McCoy, Terry Poovey, Cory West. I'm like, oh my God.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
Hate it. And that was like
Bro.
scratch heats by hand clock, right? Back then? I thought they were still doing...
Yeah, probably at the AMA stuff. Formula USA, I don't think we had quite the grids.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it was still gnarly.
Yeah.
Like racing against heroes, you know, that I didn't really belong out there with.
Yeah.
But
the same thing. So Formula USA, for people that don't know, that ran like kind of adjacent to AMA stuff. Like it was its own, but it was pro.
Yep.
Right. But it was just a totally different series.
Yeah. And so they had all their own sponsors and were paying pretty good. And it was back when like AMA had just switched to like the 505 singles. And so road taxes were still kind of the thing.
Yep.
And I did a few Formula USA rounds on a road tax, did Del Mar, did Phoenix and some other races. And then when the 450s came out, it was like, it was a DTX bike. And it was like, I grew up riding one of those things, and I just clicked with it and started doing pretty good on it. And like shit, we went to Sacramento Mile. I won my heat race. I drafted Brian Smith to the finish line. Won my heat race, dude. Like, was so stoked. Started second on the front row, right next to Poovey on the number 1 bike.
That's so crazy.
So I get the whole shot, and I led the whole first lap. And then I finished like 10th. We didn't know any better, and like we needed to turn our tire around, put the fresh edge down, and we didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was just me and my dad. So. But stuff like that, you know, it was like little glimmers of like, oh man, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know? But
I didn't even know Formula USA. I thought that was just road racing because they had Formula USA road racing too. No.
Yeah, so we were doing that too.
So
we were in my van. We had the dirt tracker and the road racer, and so we went to Portland, did the road race. On the way back down, we hit Sacramento, did the flat track. Then we went down and we did Del Mar, and then
you got to bring that back.
Then we drove to
Crazy.
We should bring it back.
Daytona.
Be crazy.
It'd be sick. Like,
Well, Roland kind of tried to do
Yeah.
it with Super Hooligans.
yeah,
and
I don't know why he kind of stopped doing the dirt track side of it. Like, I feel like,
Well, the one year was the year that I started doing Super Hooligans, and that was going to be the thing. Like, you had to ride the same bike
yeah,
in the flat track stuff and the road race stuff. And so I got this total turd of an Aprilia because I knew it'd be fast on the dirt. And then all those guys ended up just riding flat track bikes and took like a points cut and then smoked me. And I was like, well, this is dumb. I'm not coming back.
Huh.
So yeah, 02 was like the big Formula USA year. And then Ronnie Jones actually got us in touch with Kenny Roberts.
Okay. The big man.
Yeah.
King.
So Kenny was looking for a young up-and-coming dirt tracker / road racer. And so Ronnie was like, hey, I know a kid. How about we bring him out to the ranch and you give him a shot? So they flew me out, and I got to ride XR100s with Senior, Ronnie, and Curtis.
Sick.
That
is cool.
It was crazy. And I was like, I can ride an XR100? No.
Damn, they just put you in all these fucking
Just like,
sink or swim situations,
yeah, for
huh?
sure. And like, those dudes were so fast. It was unreal. But like, Kenny was like, yeah, you're okay. Like, how about you come back this winter and you spend some time with us? I was like, hell yeah. So then I got to go back over my Christmas break. You know, Christmas break's like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then I took an extra 2 weeks. So I went out there for a full month, and it was the year that Junior had just won the championship. So I got to ride with those dudes all winter, basically.
Wow. So you must have leveled up heavy.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Learned a lot riding with those guys. And then while I was out there, Kenny Sr. was like, how would you feel about going to Spain and racing? And I was like, sign me up. Because I graduated high school in 02. So 03, I was free. Let's do it. So he still had his Grand Prix team over there. And he had like a Spanish test rider or something that paid to be the guy that, you know, he was the test rider, and then he also got to do X amount of wild card rounds or something. Well, they still owed Kenny money, I guess. And so Kenny was like, well, I'm kind of owed a favor over there. So I can probably get you a ride. And so he got me a deal over there, and I spent 2003 in Spain racing the Spanish championship.
Holy
wow.
smokes.
On what bikes?
Honda 600s.
Oh, that's
Okay.
sick.
Yeah. So
So how old were you? You must
I
have been
was
18?
18. Wow. So that was kind of like my first break.
Yeah.
Getting to go do something road for a real team.
And that was all covered by...
Yeah, it was all a favor.
Wow.
It was all a favor owed by Kenny. And so I got over there, like Ronnie helped me with flights and stuff.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of miles. And so I got over there, we went and did the first test. And so we were all on the 600 F4Is, and we go to Almeria, and it was raining.
I've been there.
And I was the fastest at the end of the test.
No way.
And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And so, but it was the year that the 600RR came out. And so when I went back, I was still on the F4I.
Oh,
and so Xavi Flores was my teammate.
What?
Yeah. And then I had another teammate, but you wouldn't know who he is. So yeah, they were on those things, and I was on the old dog. And I scored points once at Albacete. I finished 14th.
Yeah, but that must have been just like a killer.
But yeah, it was, oh man, it was gnarly. But I learned a ton. And it was really cool. What an experience. I got to ride Catalunya, Jerez, Valencia, Jarama, and Albacete.
It's crazy.
Was your dad doing that with you too at that time? No. So
No.
you guys kind of
So
freedom.
you're solo.
Yeah,
Freedom.
yeah.
What was that like? Was that kind of a weird like stage to kind of navigate?
It was tough, but I was young enough that it was just like, whatever.
Just did what
it
you
was
did.
a cool experience. Kenny had some friends over there that I lived with for the first 3 months that I was there. And then August, they don't do anything over there. So then I flew home, and then I came back for 3 months. So I also had another teammate that rode a 125, Alicia Spargaro.
Just a guy.
What?
Yeah.
Just a random guy.
Yeah. And so the Espargaros were like where do you live? And I was like, oh, I live with this guy. He works at a golf course. And they're like, but you live so far from everything. Like, why don't you come live with us? I was like, I don't care. You have a room? Sure. So they're like, yeah. You come with us. Because everywhere you need to go, we need to go too. So you might as well just come live with us. I was like, sweet. So when I went back over in September, I just lived with the Espargaros.
What?
Wow, that's insane. Now, you didn't speak Spanish.
Poquito.
Yeah, same as me.
But they
now.
speak like Catalan,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
totally
like
different.
Yeah,
But they
right.
were speaking English.
You
could get it.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, Aleix could speak English. And the family, like Janice, their dad, he could speak a little English. But the rest of the family, nothing,
Wow.
So I was 18, Aleix was 14, and Paul was 10.
Wow.
And they had a little sister too. But I basically just slept on the couch. But
That's so cool.
But I got to go ride supermoto with those guys. Like I did all kinds of fun stuff. It was super cool.
So what was their program like? Riding all the time or what?
Well, they were both in school, so
Okay.
like I would just I was in the house alone pretty much all day, and then they'd get out of school, and then it was like, all right, let's go, and we'd go to some kart track, and they had like these DR 650s that were super lowered and like sprung for their weight, and so like they took me to a supermoto track, and I was like, I am gonna show these kids what's up. No. They fucking smoked me. Like, every time I went and rode with those dudes, it was just like paddled,
And they were even back then. They were already on like the European program where it was like kart track every day. Like kind of had a trajectory set for them.
Yeah, I mean they were already Catalan supermoto champions, and like they were already riding 125s pretty heavy, and Paul was riding a 125 heavy at 10,
Yeah.
and so
And
we would
Aleix had a tougher go at it than Paul.
Yeah, for sure. Like Paul kind of got the better end of the sponsorship deal. And so they pulled some good sponsorship for Paul, and he kind of had an easier route, I think. But
You stay in touch with those guys?
a little bit.
Like over the years afterwards?
Yeah. I mean, I can still message them on Instagram, and they'll hit me back,
That's so cool.
And like Aleix, he's come down to the boot camp a few times. I've ridden with him, and we just hug and then get back out there and bang bars again. So super fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then after that season, that wasn't going to happen again because I didn't really do that good. But I will add that I got paddled all year, and then we went to Jerez, the last race of the year, and it rained in qualifying, and I qualified 6th.
Let's go.
And I was like, now we're talking.
So you've always been kind of a rain master.
I mean, granted, it is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
And like that was my one time to shine.
Yeah.
And I put it on the second row, and then it didn't rain for the race, and I got smoked.
Is this a kind of a reoccurring theme, like in all these stories, though? It's like you kind of just always get put in these spots where you're just like not set up for success.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely not set up for success. That was more of just like go over there and get the experience,
Yeah.
And so when I came back in 2004, I had nothing, and I had been gone all year, so nobody really knew who I was, and I hadn't been in the AMA since 2002, like half season. So, and I only rode a 2-stroke. So, we kind of looked. My dad and I, we kind of looked at the schedule and looked at the purse, and the only class that really paid anything was Superbike, and so we bought this like junkyard dog GSXR 1000 that was like an insurance write-off, and we prepped it to the best of our abilities, and we went straight to Daytona with it and raced in the 200 the last last year that they had the big
Dude,
bikes.
what?
In the 200. I finished 13th.
Let's go.
Yeah, we didn't even have a spare front wheel.
So you just one wheel.
Just one front tire on the front.
On 1,000 around
On
Daytona.
1,000 around Daytona. Dude, we literally showed up with like
When men
stock
were men.
suspension. Wow. And I think it was Chuck Giacchetto. He came over and he saw us like pushing it through the tech line. He was like, what the hell are you guys doing? He's like, let me help you out. And like he went and got like a Penske shock for it or something, And, but shit, dude, it just stayed out there, kept circulating, and I finished 13th. It was crazy.
What was the money back? Like what? Like
It was good, dude. Chevy Trucks was the title sponsor. And so, like, I mean, I can't remember, but it was thousands of dollars to finish wherever I was finishing.
that's crazy.
So that was like, that's what kind of kept us going down the road. That's what funded our whole program.
Yeah, I was
Like-
going to ask, well, how, like, comparing that time to now, like, what do you how different is it? Would you say?
I mean, we were doing it on the cheap, and like the fact that there was open tire, like I reached out to Bridgestone. Bridgestone gave me tires for the year, like free, like no big deal.
That's
and so
crazy.
We went down there. Bridgestone had tires because we rode Bridgestones on the 250.
Oh, okay.
And so then when we got to Daytona, they threw some tires at me, and they were just blistering like crazy on the banking.
Yeah, perfect. Just what you want
and
to
they were like, "Well, we've got one more tire you can try, and then it's basically the tire of your choice." And we're like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Something else. Dunlop, Pirelli, you pick." And so I ended up running Pirellis for the 200, but then the rest of the races, the Bridgestones worked. They worked good enough for me. So I rode Bridgestones the whole year. I got another 13th at Brainerd. Those were like my 2 best finishes of the year. And this was like AMA Superbike back in the day. It was Mladen, Zimke, Duhamel, Gobert, all those dudes. And I got 2004 Superbike Rookie of the Year, finished 13th. I only fell in one race at Laguna, so I finished every single race minus Laguna and finished.
That's awesome, dude.
Finished 13th in the
That is so
championship.
sick.
On a junkyard.
Just me and my dad in a van.
On a junkyard.
That's crazy.
GSXR 1000.
That I financed myself. Really? The bike was like $4,500. My dad had shit credit, so he's like, "You need to go buy this thing."
Racing with a lean on the note.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that wasn't the first time.
That's so rad. That's so cool. No, it is a different era. I feel like now, like even like if you said you were a Superbike Rookie of the Year now, I don't know, you'd probably be finishing. You have to be like a top 7 guy, And if you were even finishing 10th or back, you'd be like, who really cares, But then finishing 13th is like, fuck,
dude,
that's sick. There was probably 20 factory bikes, right? I mean,
and it was brutal. There was sometimes like shit. We'd go to Sonoma, and I finished like 28th. There's like all those local AFM boys, and I go out and I'm like 28th in the first practice. I'm like, God. Or go to Road Atlanta. All the Wira boys from the South, Mike Smith with his fringy leathers, and all these guys that I'd never heard of, and I'm just getting paddled, But, I came from Spain, and I had that experience, and I just got stuck in and just chased these old dudes around and learned.
That's crazy. I mean, you got that's just in the deep end. Like, you're now 20 years old, probably? 19, and you've just been in every fucking deep pond you could possibly be in.
Yeah, 19 on a 1,000. That's why I look at kids now, and they're like junior cup on a
16.
At 19?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, back in my day, I rode a 1,000. What are you doing?
Yeah. No, it's true, though. I mean,
it's crazy.
I think it's a little bit of the problem on why things are like kind of so slow to progress. It's like, now it's a big jump if a kid gets on a 600.
Yeah, it's almost like they're scared of that jump. Well, we got to go Twins Cup first. I'm like, fucking put him on 1,000.
Yeah.
See what he does.
Do you think it's part of that's just the financial side of it, though? Like you're saying, like having open tires and you could kind of like...
Yeah, we didn't pay for a single tire all year. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's 30
grand. I would love that.
Yeah. And then like Chevy trucks back then, and I didn't know this until the checks started coming in, like wherever you were in the points throughout certain parts of the year, you'd get an extra bonus in the mail.
Oh, really?
What?
And so like
a points fund?
Like I remember getting this check for like $5,000 or something, and I was like, oh, I'm not even going to tell my dad about this. I'm just going to go deposit it, But like the deal was like my dad would pay for the gas and get us there, and then like I had to pay for everything else. Yeah. So my winnings were basically covering the hotel and everything, the expenses while we were out, and paying for the
you're just grinding.
Motorcycle.
Yeah. So after 2004, did you get any sort of breaks?
So that's when Hot Bodies came on the scene.
Oh, wow. Dude, I bought all my shit from Hot Bodies.
Yeah. So 05 was like the crazy Hot Bodies circus tent. You guys probably still weren't in the paddock, obviously.
Yeah, I remember that.
But there was this giant circus tent that Roger Davis was the owner of Hot Bodies. And so like he put out this thing, and there was like 15 people under this tent, and everyone looked the same. It was this giant Hot Bodies team, but all different kinds of bikes. And so we got body work and Vortex stuff and pipes and all this shit for being on the Hot Bodies deal. And then 05 was the year the new Suzuki 1000 came out, and it was way better than the 04 bike. And so yeah, we did Superbike again that year. Just me and my dad. And that was kind of like, it was much harder that year, but I was a little bit more experienced and the bike was quite a bit better. And so we had some good rounds, we had some bad rounds, but like the highlight of the year was I went to VIR and I got 10th.
Wow.
In Superbike.
That's crazy.
Like it was it was like JP in front of me.
Yeah.
And I had a heads up fight with Marty Kregel, who was on the Matt Mladen Motorsports Suzuki. It was basically like a Yosh bike. And I fucking beat that guy, dude.
Yeah.
Like
We got to find a picture of that grid.
it was
back
sick.
then.
It was sick.
Yeah.
Cuz like I just got such a killer start, like VIR, you know, the way the kink is right off the start. And I just like angled my bike. I was like, I ain't turning. I'm just going that way. I was like cockeyed compared to everybody, but I got a ripper of a start. And I remember being right behind E-Boz in turn 1.
Holy crap.
So I was like where I shouldn't be, you know, but I got such a good start that I, you know, effed off all those dudes that I usually race with. And I just got stuck in and, you know, they all checked out on me early, but it's such a long race and it's so hot and it's so slick. And I just, all the dudes with horsepower, I just started picking them off. And then there's Kregel right at the end. And I'm like, I've got this guy, you know? And so I get down into 1, I can still remember it, come out of 1 and you're getting ready to flick it into that fast left. And I'm kind of like on the outside of Kregel and I'm like, I am stuffing you, bud. And as soon as we flick left, I just shoved it in there on him and he just gave up after that pretty much, and I beat him to the stripe. And
how long were those races?
25 laps.
Dude, you're just out there forever.
In like September. Yeah.
So at that time, you weren't really training or whatever. You're just riding.
Yeah, riding the motorcycle, and then like I rode mountain bikes a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Like I never really got in the gym, and we'd kind of given up on flat track. That was we were done with that.
Yeah.
And so it was just I rode mountain bikes and rode a 1000.
Yeah,
That's
that'll
insane.
get you into shape.
Just
Like,
wrestled a bear every weekend.
And not like a 1000 now, like a 1000 with no
no
TC,
traction control, no
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carbureted still.
And still is like we had Pirellis that year, and I remember Pirelli gave us like 72 tires
What?
for free.
Wow.
So
I remember
like,
the most I ever got was 14 during my weird days.
they threw me a fat stack of tires, and I didn't pay for a tire all year until the last round. Like, and I spent like $1,000 or something.
Which makes it so much cheaper. I mean, you got like your logistics. If you're not paying a crew, then that's different. But
Yeah.
I mean, tires is such a big part of it.
It's
It
everything.
really is. It is interesting to think about, like, if there was just an open tire rule, and
It just helps the privateers so much more, because nowadays it's $3,000 a weekend or something.
at least, I mean, Superbike,
It's
you're more than that.
unreal
Yeah.
having to pay for the Dunlops.
Yeah.
And back then, like scrubs, you could keep your scrubs and you could use them at the next round. Like I just remember we had this little enclosed trailer, and I had two 05,000s,
Just everything.
and like I financed those too. And so like, but our local dealer gave us a deal, so they were like half off. So they were $4,500.
That's insane.
So I got 2 bikes for the price of 1,
Yeah.
basically.
It probably cost you another $4,500 to build back then, no?
Well, we really just all the parts we got from the Hot Bodies deal. We didn't build nothing.
Yeah.
We just put
So since you
parts on it.
race super stock bikes and Superbike?
yeah.
Okay.
Because what was really the difference between a Superbike back then? If you were on a Superbike, that was a real Superbike. It was basically just factory. That's all it meant. And
Well-
everyone else was on
Super stock bikes.
essentially super stock,
Yeah.
but they call them Superbikes.
And they had that Super Stock 1000 class, but we didn't have the budget to race 2 classes, so we just focused on Superbike because that's where the purse money was.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the end of 05,
Dude, when's MILF Hunter come?
a few more years.
Like Jiminy Cricket, dude.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Holy shit.
So like this was kind of like I'm getting to the end of it with my dad. Like it was getting really tough. Like me and him, I'm still having to go work on
his job site.
construction sites and doing this stuff with him, you know, waking up at 5 a.m. and doing all that shit. And I didn't want to do it, and I wanted to train. I could see what everybody else is doing. You know, I wanted to go out to Kenny's over the winter, and I want to train. I want to do all this stuff, but I never got to do that. And so it was basically I just showed up and raced. You know, come to Daytona, and I was like, man, I haven't put leathers on in 8 months. It feels like.
Yeah.
So 06, I got some help from Chuck Cicchetto. He was like, I want to help you guys. And so he helped us with the 1000 program. We were going to race stock 1000 and Superbike. And we went to Daytona. And that was my first time in stock 1,000. And there was a ton of people in stock 1,000 back then. Factory Yamaha, Yates was running in it. On the Suzuki, there was Buckmaster, there was the TAC Kawasaki's, there was a ton of people in that class. But Daytona has always been a good track for me. And I just remember, like, Josh Hayes was in there on a Honda. And I just remember in the race, early in the race on Pirellis, and I'm just, like, picking people off, pass a Jordan bike, pass Aaron Yates. Shit, I'm in fourth. And I rolled around in fourth for a little bit, and then Josh Hayes come by me, and I could just see how he was working his tire, and he slowly started to get away. And then all those people that I was screaming past, they all just started coming by.
Oh, no.
I finished like 9th or 10th or something like that. But that whole year was just, now I kind of have a mechanic that I can lean on and not have to worry about my dad all the time. And, I think that there was probably opportunities that kind of passed me by because my dad was so abrasive.
Really?
People were afraid to come up and give me help. Because he would run people off.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to, this is my son, this is our program.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know better.
Yeah. And so that was really kind of hindering my progress. And I was getting to the point now, I'm 20 years old. I can't just keep rolling around with my dad and expect someone's just going to put me on a program.
Right.
So it got to, we went to Sonoma, and it started off bad. We had our little setup. My dad ended up buying a gooseneck trailer, and we like parked and got our setup going on. And my dad was all about like wanting to look good, but then like he rolls up on our little pit bike and he's got it parked. Well, he's parked in the fire lane, and the fire marshal's out there for real, And so they came up, real nice guys, like, "Hey man, we just wanted to say that you can't park here in the fire lane, and you got to keep this area clear." And my dad's like, "All right." So he like gets the bike and he moves it. Dude turns around and walks off. He grabs the bike and he puts it right back where it was. And I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing?" The guy kind of turns around. He's like, "Hey man, I thought I just told you." He's like, "We're the fucking show. You're the only reason you're here is because we're here, And I'm like, whoa. Don't get in a fight with the freaking fire marshal, And so it was always like shit like that going on.
Yeah.
I had to keep him under control while focusing on like going out and racing against the big dogs, and had a big crash that weekend. It had rained on Friday night, and like Saturday morning qualifying, JP comes by me and I'm rolling with him, and turn 4 down the hill. I drift out and I get on the paint, and the thing high sides me to the moon. I blow my leathers out, that stretch panel in the back.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I had like 2 size road rash chunks like this big on both my butt cheeks. And I ended up racing with that the rest of the weekend, and then had to drive all the way home like that. It was terrible. But after that weekend, I was like, I can't keep doing this with my dad. Like, I can't do it. So I had to have that heart-to-heart with my dad. I was like, because MotoAmerica was the next one, and I was like, what do you think about me just going to MotoAmerica by myself? Oof. And it was really tough. And he just like, it hit him like a ton of bricks. And I was like, just let me try it. It's come to that time, I got Chuck there. He can help work on the bike. And I think maybe it's time you just let me go do this thing. And he agreed to it. I had a van and little enclosed trailer that we used the year before. And I just remember loading that thing up and driving the thing to Wisconsin, and it was like the weight had lifted off my shoulders. Like I had never felt more free in my life. I was so stoked. And I went up to MotoAmerica and had an awesome weekend. We blew a bunch of shit up. I ended up crashing in turn 1 in the race, but like I was rolling with the Jordan boys. Like I was doing 15s on the 1,000 back then. Like I was flying, and it was just because I felt free.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to worry about my dad anymore. It was so awesome. And so then we finished that year out, just me and Chuck. And when that year was done, he was like, "Hey, man, let's go to Daytona in October. I'm going to put you on R6." And I was like, man, I haven't ridden a 600 in years. But then when I got back on the 600, I was like, this thing's easy after riding the 1,000. And so then...
That's kind of what started your 600 career.
So then off the 1,000s in 06, and then on to the R6 in 07. I go to the Indy dealer show. This was all still supposed to be, and I moved out. I got away from my dad like 100%.
So you're just done.
Like I can't, like the rest of that year, I ended up just like sleeping on Chuck's couch down in Dallas, sleeping on buddies' couches all over the country, wherever I went, just full vagabond, pulling my GSXRs around.
In your van.
And so Roger from Hot Bodies is like, hey man, why don't you just come out here? I'll offer you a job. You can come work out here. And so I go to San Diego and I pack my shit. I go to San Diego and I start working for Hot Bodies.
Huh.
And so we go to Daytona on that 600 and I kick a bunch of ass on it. And so it's like, this is our program. We're going to do Super Sport and Formula Extreme next year. And then the Hot Bodies deal just kind of went south. I actually drove a box truck from San Diego to the Indy dealer show in the winter for Hot Bodies, and then worked a booth up there. And then I was kind of standing around. There was really nobody interested in this booth that I was working, so I was like, fuck this, I'm going to go walk around. So I go walking around, and I ran into Sean Reese, the MILF Hunter guy. And I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, I knew who he was. I'd seen his bikes, and I knew who he was. And so I was like, I'm going to hang out with this guy, you know? And so we're fucking around and we like go bowling that night. And he's like, hey man, what do you think about me sponsoring you this year or for 2007? And I was like, I don't know, man, you'll have to talk to Chuck. That seems kind of crazy. But, and so he talks to Chuck and they work it out. And so boom, Team Hunter, let's go. Blue camo. So we show up at Daytona on these R6s and shit, dude, I did pretty good that weekend. I want to say I finished 5th or 6th in Super Sport and then, qualified pretty good for the 200, but I ended up crashing on like lap 3 or something. Mm-hmm. It was when we didn't run the 2 bankings. We ran that little Mickey Mouse stupid infield, and I got into a tussle with Pegram.
Oh, the worm.
He was on a Ducati, and the thing was so fast off the corner. I was like, I have got to stuff this guy, and I tried to go up the inside, and I took the front. But yeah, after that, like we just hit the ground running, and like Tony Romo works for Dunlop. He used to work for Factory Yamaha back then. So he was building our motors back door. Sick. We had fast shit. And yeah, I qualified on the second row at multiple rounds and, you know, did pretty good that year. Didn't put it on the box, but like this was AMA Supersport Day.
Yeah, this was huge.
Factory Cowie, Factory Yamaha, Hacking, Hayden, you know,
Arian Honda.
Dude, all the boys. Yeah. Like it was
What was the type of sponsorship like that back then? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. I wasn't getting paid. I was just riding.
You weren't?
No,
okay.
No, there was no money coming back to me. But then Chuck was always big on like, let's go chase some of this Yamaha money at some of these weird races and stuff. And so then we would go do that. Shit, you go to a club race and win a Yamaha club race and it's $2,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we came here one weekend and I made $4,000. I was like, shit, we got to do more of that, you know? And that's when it was like going back to club racing. That was like, it helped me sharpen my knife and learn how to win a race.
Yeah.
You know, because I was a mid-pack guy and that's kind of where I always finished. But then I'd show up at a club race and it was Robbie Jensen and Jeff Wood. And those were the guys. Like, you're basically stepping into their playground, and that's their money. Yep. And you have to go take it from them. And I beat those guys quite a few times. And
those were bad dudes. I remember Robbie Jensen rolling up in a stacker trailer, chasing contingency when I was coming up through Weir, and I was like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking crazy. I'm in an open wheel trailer with 2 Suzukes. Going, who the fuck is this? And tires and this, and the program was so dialed.
Yeah.
And I'm like getting fucking smoked.
Mm-hmm. But like we'd go to places like CCS in July, they'd go to MotoAmerica. Well, we'd already done MotoAmerica in the spring, and I knew how fast I could go at MotoAmerica. So then I go up there and I'm like, I'm gonna smoke these guys. I'm gonna win this Formula US or ASRA money, whatever it is. And then, but Jeff Wood, man, like had to beat Jeff, had to beat Robbie. Had Robbie covered, Jeff, he beat me in both fucking races. And I was just like, and we weren't even going close to what I knew I could do. But like every time I get to the lead, he would dive bomb me and do something crazy and slow me down. And it was back when they used to do the Moto ST.
Yeah.
And so it was Jimmy Felice was pair of 9s.
Yeah, I raced against him with Cycle Dynamics.
So he came over and I'll never forget, because this is one of the best things of advice I've ever gotten. And it was Jimmy, and he came up and he saw me. I let it out of the last corner, and Jeff drafted me to the stripe, beat me by this much, and I was so pissed. And so he came up and he's like, Cory, man, you look really good. But why are you racing that guy? And I was like, what do you mean, why am I racing that guy?
Oh.
I have to race that guy. That's who I'm racing. And he was like, don't race the racers, race the racetrack. Just go out there and race that racetrack. It's like, okay, well, what about Jeff Wood, dude? Like, still gotta beat Jeff Wood, But I thought about it all night, and so I went out for the next day, and I put a hole shot on him and just started hitting my marks and racing the racetrack, and I pulled this huge gap on Jeff and was just like, okay, I'm going to win this thing. And then I ended up crashing. I was racing the racetrack too hard.
A little too hard.
But when was it? So when was the Hunter thing when they did all the pictures and everything? Didn't they do something at Daytona?
You're talking about his website?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
they
it
got
was
kicked
here.
out.
It was
They got kicked
here?
out
It was
somewhere.
here. So it was the year before I was on the team.
Oh, okay.
And so when the AMA caught wind that I was going to be on his team, because he always had Marco Martinez or some local Florida guy. And they're like, hey, man, if you're going to have someone like Cory West riding for you, you're going to have to clean your act up. No more shooting movies in the paddock,
because that's what I thought.
Because that was the movie. That was the thing.
Yeah.
It was like, we're at Barber Motorsports Park for AMA Superbike. And then they go in and they're in the, I'm going to tell you right now, I never even saw one tit, it was, he cleaned his act up for me.
Right.
But his whole crew, man, it was like he had a crew that followed him around. This dude that looked like he was a WWF wrestler, and all these porn star girls running around, and
He was the porn star guy himself, or he owned the thing?
he was the MILF
He
hunter.
was the guy.
Yeah.
Sick.
MILFhunter.com.
I knew that. I didn't know who he was in relation to it, if he owned it or he was actually starring in
He
it.
was starring. And
Wow.
his dad was one too.
No
he
way.
had
What?
one called Captain Stabbin'.
It was a generational thing.
crazy stuff. Yeah. But me and Chuck, we'd go out for, I remember we were at Road Atlanta, we'd go out for the first practice, we'd come back in, we're getting the other bike ready, and then wham, the door would open and out would walk Sean, no shirt, Bud Light in his hand, morning, boys. Dude, it's freaking 9:30. What are
crazy.
you doing?
That's
How'd
so
first
rad,
practice
though.
go? Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's crazy to think about all the names that you're saying, just even the guys that are in the sport still, like Tony Romo or Chuck Chiquetto. I don't know if there's another generation of those guys, like that. There's I don't know a Chuck Chiquetto that's going out on a whim to help some kid that's 20 years old coming up, Chuck Chiquetto's still going out on a whim at his age, helping 20-year-old kids out. But who's next? You know, that's
right.
a little.
It's gonna be us, dude.
I mean, fuck, it's gotta
Essentially.
be. But I mean, nobody wants me working on their shit. I'll tell you that much. And Jimmy neither.
No, dude. No.
Sure, for
they're
sure.
screwed if they're relying on us.
Yeah.
We could take good pictures of them or something, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So but I'm thinking about that when you're saying all these names, and it's just where does it go from here?
But that was dude, there was so many factory riders back then that I feel like there was always a soft spot for the kid that was doing good.
Yeah.
And he was right there, you know, and that was kind of me for the longest time.
Yeah.
Without any support, without any factory bike, I was always kind of scratching on that door and beating a lot of the factory support riders, you know, dudes that were doing it out of semi trucks.
Through all those years now you're going to race Bagger World Challenge, is there stuff still from then that you take from years and years ago that you're still thinking about, or is still applicable, I guess, that you learned along the way that's something that stuck with you?
A little bit, just kind of mindset stuff, boy, back in the day when I raced Robbie Jensen at Barber, this, I think about especially if the weather changes, racing here in the rain or something like that.
Yeah.
I can always think about, well, shit, what did I do here last time I raced in the rain? Well, that was 2007, so stuff like that. But I'm riding such different equipment now. It's kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah, for sure.
You've always kind of helped out the next guy. I feel like growing up. I know I was gonna get there, but we're close to there. But I've always felt like you've always been such an easy guy to talk to, You know, is that because you were just in those shoes for a long time, or like? Because I remember coming up to you and you didn't even know, and I asked you pretty much all of 2011
And
10
and
of like, hey, what gearing you running? Hey, what gears you in?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm doing this. Like, you helped me more than a lot of people, you know, racing Suzuki specifically. And that was I remember watching you at that was Daytona Sport Bike at the time, and those were freaking crazy races. And that was kind of when, I wouldn't say breakthrough, but you were fucking in it on that Vezra bike.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
in it.
For sure.
You know?
Well, I mean, I never considered myself one of the top dogs because I wasn't, you know? And so when a younger kid would come up to me and be like, oh man, Cory West, like, how do you brake so hard? Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know, I'm just a normal dude. I'm struggling just like you are, man. I'm trying to you just got to get your toe strap out and hang on, you know? And so I always just tried to help out as much as I could. I had no idea that I'd end up racing you for a championship. Wouldn't have given you so much help, you little punk balls.
I still remember though that New Jersey race where that thing blew up and you just parked it in that's one of the, I don't know why, that's one of the ones I remember the most.
Which one was that?
In New Jersey, it was like race 2.
2010.
Race 2 or race 1. But the thing blew up, but you were fucking in it.
Yeah, it was me and Slick
Dude,
going at it.
in it.
M4?
No, he was on Vezra.
So after 7, I spent enough time in Southern California that I started doing some little side jobs for Road Racing World, working for the magazine, and then started cycling with Chris quite a bit, and then that's how I kind of got my foot in the door over there, and I ended up getting that was my first real ride, was 08, riding for M4.
And that was when they were on the blue.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I remember vividly.
Yeah, but wasn't that when you parked that thing in the Vezra?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Vezra.
Okay.
So that was
that's when you were Snake.
M4 only lasted a year.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, and that for me, 2008. It's like I got my first paid gig. Now I'm in the loop of the semi trucks, and that was kind of the way it worked. Like if you could get into a ride where you're underneath a big tent, if it didn't work out there, you could go to another one. You could go to another one. You could go to another one. You could make some money, and that was like the first time I actually got paid to go racing. It was freaking awesome.
How much are we talking?
$45,000.
Dude, that's
was my
good.
first
Nice.
contract.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then like I'd be calling Chris and I'm like, hey man, I haven't gotten paid yet. He's like, dude, we pay you pretty good. What's your deal? And I'm like, dude, I am still paying for race bikes that I don't even own.
Last like 5 years.
04, 05, 06, like all those bikes I financed myself, and then we'd sell them, and I didn't have the money to pay the loan off. I had to live off that money.
Yeah.
So like I had this huge note at the bank that I was just making minimum monthly payments on. And so like all that money that I made in 08 was basically just getting Cory out of debt from all the years of racing privateer. And so and 08 was crazy because it was my first time under a big tent. It was my first time with like 2 mechanics. I had Vic Fasola as a crew chief at first, and then that didn't work out, and then I ended up getting somebody else, and that didn't work out. So the third guy at M4 never really worked out. It seemed like there was always a tough road ahead of the number 3
remember
guy.
that, yeah.
And so it was Blake Young, Martine, and me.
And that was a big crew.
And so those 2 guys were in 2 classes, and I was in Super Sport only. And it was tough, man. Like Super Sport was so stacked back then. But I kind of had my first breakthrough at Fontana that year. I P5'd it.
Yeah, it's big.
Behind Bostrom.
That's big.
And so did really good there and was stoked. But that was a weekend that Martine crashed, broke his femur, and he was Formula Extreme guy. So they're like, dude, we're going to the next round. Do you want to ride Martine's Formula Extreme bike? I was like, yes. Finally, like 2 classes, similar bikes, both 600s, let's go. So then Formula Extreme wasn't quite as stacked, and they had a really good bike. So then and I was getting top 5 bonuses from Suzuki. Like we get double contingency for top 5s. And so like,
we know all about that program.
So I was like, finally, like,
yeah, it was good money back then.
Now
too,
I know what it's like to get a big check at the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
This is amazing, you know? Because like, you know, I'd go into the team truck to change, and like Martin, he'd come in from the podium with another trophy, and he'd open his locker and it's just full of trophies, and he'd just throw the trophy in there and shut the fucking door, and I'm like, dude, he's got like so much money in there.
It was big.
Then Blake, you know, he's winning 1,000 super stock races, you know, and then running up front in super sport, and I'm just watching both my teammates just come home with all these trophies, and I'm just like, if I could just get there, they're making good money, you know, like this is crazy. So then the Formula Extreme bike, like I started riding it and started getting top fives and getting a little extra bonus money, and then we go to Miller that year, and I get my first pro podium, dude. It was like so awesome. I got third. It was
Dude,
rad.
Miller was so sick too.
Yeah.
And it was the year we did the full course at Miller.
Yeah.
We did all 800 corners of that place. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but it's
I don't
like,
know if I've ever done
it's
it.
28 turns.
That's
It's like
crazy.
Yeah.
by the time we got up to speed, we were doing like 2-minute 40 something laps.
Oh my, that's a joke.
It was insanity.
A 5-lap
And
race.
like, dude, okay, we have to talk about this race because it was crazy. There was a whole pack of us. It was me, Slick, Bobby Fong, Steve Rapp, Aaron Gobert, and then Zemke, Hayes, and Blake and Heron were all kind of checked out at the front. So it's all of us battling for fifth. And so I'm kind of tail end of this crazy battle for fifth. And so I'm behind Fong. Fong loses the front. He's out. Okay, one guy out. So now it's me, Rapp, Slick, and Gobert. Gobert's shit blows up. So now it's me, Rapp, and Slick for fifth. And so there's a fast right-hander in the infield, and then it leads into a tight left. And so Slick would be in front of Rapp, and every time we go into this left, Rapp would dive bomb Slick and just run him to the dirt, like every lap. And I'm just watching these two, and they're like going at it. And if you ever battle with Danny, you don't want to be on the wrong end of it, okay? And so I'm like just sitting in the back watching these two guys, and I'm like, shit's about to get ugly. I'm just going to keep this position right here and watch, you know? And so I'm watching them. And so finally, like Danny, we go through the fast right, and Danny checks up because he knows that Rapp's going to do this thing. And so he checks up early. Rapp goes flying in there. Danny cuts back under, grabs a big old handful, and just boom, just like punts freaking Rapp, like center punches him so hard on the left side of the bike. And then as soon as we come out of that left, he turns around and he goes, come on. Like come on with it, you know, like
No way.
Well, I see when he hit Rapp, like he smashed his shifter so bad the linkage is broken. It's all dangling.
So there's another one.
So we come off the corner. Now Rapp's not in this race no more. So now it's just me and Slick, and we're battling for fifth. And I'm like, all right, dude, top five is still here, you know? And so I'm behind Danny. We're cruising. I pass him down the front straightaway. The next lap, I come around. I see Danny in the gravel. Like, he crashed while he was chasing me. So I'm like, I'm Lone Ranger in fifth now. Then something happened to Heron. His shifter's broken too. So I pass Heron. Now I'm in fourth. And I'm like, sweet, I'm going to get fourth. This is awesome. So last lap, I'm coming into that the last 2-3 turns, and there's that giant big screen. So I go into that left-hander, and I look up at the big screen, and it's Josh and Zemke cross the finish line, and I was like, well, where the hell's Blake? And they go back, they pan back to Blake, and he's shaking the bike like the thing's out of gas. And I'm like, let's go!
I remember
and
that.
so I go jamming through the last 2 turns, and there's Blake, and he's like, come on. He's trying to get the finish line. I'm like, yeah! 3rd place, let's go! It was so rad.
That's so funny.
Dude, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, and I started like 14th or something. It was crazy.
So that's got to be like awesome. Like all that hard work really just.
Oh, so stoked. And yeah, so then from there we went to MotoAmerica or something, but Hawk Mazzato was racing back then.
Yeah.
And me and him were buddies. I used to stay in, he had this giant gooseneck camping trailer, and I used to sleep in his rig. And so he's like, you want to roll with me to Wisconsin? I'm like, let's do it. And so he pulls into the first like truck stop to fill up on the way out of town, and I come out with like a 12-pack. I ain't driving. I'm getting fucked up. I'm going to sit shotgun and kill this fucking 12-pack to myself, dude. I was so stoked.
That is
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So, yeah, that was my big podium experience. But then, so like that whole year was just like build, doing the best I can, like doing the best I can. I felt like I was doing the best that any like third string M4 guy had done all year. And then, you know, the season's over. It's going into the DMG years of 09. And so they want us to come down and test at night at Daytona for the Dunlop tire test. We're switching from Pirellis to Dunlops. I go do the tire test, getting ready to go into the winter break. And I'm like asking John, everything cool? Am I still on board? Yeah. I mean, everything's good, you know? So then I was dating a girl from California. We go out to her family's place for Christmas. And while I'm out there for Christmas break, roadracingworld.com shows that Jason DeSalvo is down at Jennings testing the M4 bike. And I'm like, What? So I called JU and I'm like, hey, man, like, what's going on? He was like, well, you know, some things happen, you know, and it just looks like we got to take Jason DeSalvo this year. And I was like,
we thought we had a deal.
Dude, it's a little late, you know, for me to find something else. And so, you know, I finished 7th in the championship that year.
Yeah, that's still huge back then.
Beat Chaz Davies.
Yeah.
Like, fucking rode my ass off that year. So then John calls me like a month later. It's like February. And he's like, hey, man, got a deal for you. I'm like, really? What's going on? He's like, so Richie Morris has this thing going on. He's got this deal with Geico. He's got these Buell 1125s. They're going to go race Daytona Sport Bike. Michael Barnes is already going to race one bike, but they have a second bike. Would you be interested? I'm like, hell yeah. Tell me what to do. He's like, Richie wants you to drive up to Wisconsin and meet him in person. So I jump in my truck. I drive all the way to Wisconsin from Arkansas in the winter. I get up there, and I was buddies with Mark Young and Tony Pogue at Vezra.
Yeah.
So they're much further south than Richie's place. So I go to Mark Young's house, and I walk up into the shop, and there's Danny Eslick and Taylor Knapp. I'm like, hey, guys, what are you doing? They're like, oh, we're just here to go meet Richie Morris.
Oh, no.
Like,
Slick Rick.
oh, you got to be kidding
Richie
me.
Morris.
They're like, what time do you have to go meet him? So I was second, you know. So Danny goes up first the next day. So then I drive up there by myself. I go meet Richie. He's telling me all about this thing. Meanwhile, nobody knows what this Buell 1125 is.
Yeah.
You know, what it's going to do. It did race in Moto ST, and I did the Moto ST race for Road Racing World, and we paddled that thing on an SV1000. So I'm like, that thing's a turd. But I'll ride it. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to Richie. Like, he's like, so here's the deal. I've got all this sponsorship. I got this big thing going on, but that's Michael Barnes's ride. So this other bike, I don't have any sponsorship money. So basically, if you can ride it for nothing, it's your ride. And I was like, what do you mean nothing? Like contingency, anything? And he's like, yeah, Buell's supposed to have a contingency program. What do you think about, I'll split it with you. And I'm like, dude.
What?
I don't even know if this bike's going to make a lap. Like, I don't know, man. I'll have to get back to you. So I leave there, and I'm just like, I can't believe I just drove all the fucking way up here in the snow for that. You know, You could have told me that on the phone. So I go back down to Mark's shop, and Mark takes me to dinner that night, and he was like, hey, man, if that thing doesn't work out, what do you think about racing Wera for us? I was like, I don't know, like, what's at Wera? And he was like, well, Suzuki money's pretty good. I give you 2 bikes. You can race in 4 classes. It did pay $2,000 a race win for the Suzuki stuff, but then they chopped it down to $1,500. So 4 classes, $1,500 to win. And then he's like, I'll pay you $250 per stint to ride the endurance bike. So you'll get to ride a ton. You'll ride 1,000 and a 600. What do you think? I was like, man, it's kind of my only option. Let's do it. So I went from big timing and AMA, got my first big paid gig, to fucking back to Wera the next year.
Crazy.
But it was good. I mean, honestly, that year in Wera was probably one of the most fun years.
Really?
And those bikes were unreal.
Yeah.
Like those, I remember racing against, watching those Vezra bikes. They were freaking good.
Yeah. And racing like A Superstock and Wera Formula One, there was like 7 of us racing for that. I mean, Taylor Knapp, Trey Beatty, John Jacoby, me, Zach Chapman, Matt Lynn. I mean, the list goes on. I remember Jennings, I got 7th.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then Robbie Jensen on the 600s, 750s, all that stuff. I had to ride the 600 in the 750 class. So, but I took my licks for a while, went to all them crappy little tracks that I didn't know. And then once we started going to some proper tracks, like we went to Miller, it rained. I won all the races in the rain. Came here, I won all the races. Those were $6,000 weekends.
Big.
I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm learning how to. I honed my craft. Like I learned how to beat those dudes and win races. So.
Yep. And then he went AMA racing the next year.
And then like Mark and those dudes
The
at
whole
Vezra,
truck.
they were sick of doing the Weir thing, and they were like, "What do you say we go race DSB, and you'll be our guy?" I'm like, let's.
Did you end up getting paid when you went to?
No.
No.
I mean, I was just happy to have a job.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, happy to have a ride.
Yeah.
I got to keep all my purse, and then Mark had like 20 years of Suzuki GSXR parts up in his attic, and so
Still does.
I basically ran their eBay store. Like I learned how to list and post stuff on eBay and box and ship stuff, and I sold stuff for him hourly. He gave me an hourly rate, and
Yeah.
so went from working for Hot Bodies to working for Vezra, and that's how. I mean, I was just making the money where I could.
Yeah. After all this, did you think like you'd end up winning your first championship on a Harley in a hooligan class? Like how surreal was it to come from there all the way to, and then now you're doing the Bagger World Cup where you're finally racing in Europe full time?
Honestly, crazy, because like the way that my career progressed after that was so. I mean, we had great years with Vezra and did some really good things, and obviously 2011 was an incredible year.
Yeah.
Almost won the 200, multiple podiums, had a great year there.
Yeah, because 211 you lost to the the Ducati?
Yeah, that 848.
Yeah, that fucking thing.
If you
Where
know-
they put an engine in and the
Two
red,
motors.
in the red flag and did the whole
motors,
deal.
The old Al Luddington special.
Yeah, you're probably sour about that.
Yeah, and I wanted to protest so bad, but Mark didn't have the stones to pull the trigger on that, But like that thing blew up
Yeah.
before the red flag.
Yeah, I know.
So they had repaved Daytona, and we were shredding front tires so bad that like they red flagged the race and made everybody change to a different compound front. Well, that 848 blew up laps before the red flag. I remember seeing him in the chicane when it blew up, passed him that time, come back around, he's pushing that thing on the apron. I'm like, passed him again, And
I
then,
remember that whole deal.
And then
Yeah.
there was a red flag,
And
and
they
it took like
2 hours.
Hours,
Yeah.
And by the time they sent us back out there, it was like a 15 lap dash for cash to win the 200. No more pit stops. And I rode my dick off on a bike that wasn't really as fast as it needed to be to win. And him and Westby come by me in the chicane. Like I had my brake marker in the chicane, and I went there so deep on the last lap, and those two went flying by me up the inside. I was like,
No way.
I gotta go. Like there's no way they're gonna get a drive. I'm out of here. And so I diced them up, came out of the chicane, had a lapper for a draft, was like, I'm going to win this fucking thing. And drafted the lapper, stayed low, and then all of a sudden that Ducati come ripping by me like, where did he come from? Beats me by 0.02. And so I was just like, we have to protest.
Yeah.
And Mark was like, just be happy we got second. I'm like, second doesn't going down in the history books, man. Like,
Yeah.
I want the
Yeah.
big trophy. And
Yeah.
like, took 2 motors. There's got to be something in
Yeah.
there. Like that couldn't have been
Yeah.
legal.
That's crazy.
But then that was like our last good year. I did 2012 with those guys again, and then things started getting crazy. Brianne Poland came in with Riders Discount.
Yeah.
That kind of tarnished my relationship with Vezra, and then I was pretty much done with them.
Yeah.
And you kind of went dark for a while.
I went to Buell.
Yeah. But you worked at Buell.
Yeah, so actually
You were a test rider too.
Eric gave me a ride in 2009
Yep.
when I did all that Weir racing with
Yep.
Vezra. Mark Young was actually doing a little bit of testing on their 1125R Superbike. So our season was over. He was like, hey, man, what do you think about racing this Buell at New Jersey for the last Superbike race of the year? And I'm like, I'll ride it. We go to Autobahn to test. We're on the north track. They have 2 tracks. I go out on the north track. I break the track record by like 2 seconds. I'm like, whoa, this thing's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we go to Jersey, qualified on the second row, P8, and then battled some pretty fast dudes. Ended up finishing 7th in the Superbike race, 6 seconds behind Hayes at the finish. Like,
I remember that chassis
battling
was
with
sick.
Pegram, Hodgson, Yates, like, dude. And everyone's like,
Whoa.
who's Cory West?
On that
Like,
thing.
welcome back. We were all black. It was sick.
Yeah, I remember that bike.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it just you
And Taylor Knapp.
and Taylor Knapp?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
then
bike was good then.
And I was battling Blake Young in the last race 2, and that thing was so. I ended up having the fastest segment one time of the whole race,
Yeah.
flattening everybody, and like I ended up battling with Blake, and like he was so slow through that first little chicane that I ran up on him really fast, and he kind of parked it, and I ran into the back of him, and so we both kind of got stood up, and then Taylor ripped past both of us and stole my steak dinner. He finished 6th, I finished 7th.
Kind of nuts to think about the whole Buell thing, like what could have been, you know? It's just
Yeah.
like a few different things went a few different ways. And then now I was thinking about the other day, just with like the Pan America, what you guys are doing on it, like, you know, like that could have been a Buell. You know, like that,
for sure.
Like the evolution of things. It makes so much sense for Buell to be here right now. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially with the Super Hooligan class the way it is.
Yeah. If Harley hadn't have dropped Eric in 09, he was about to come out with that 1190. And that 1190 was so good at the time, because this was before traction control.
Yeah.
The R1 was crazy. The Suzukis were crazy. So it was like that thing just laid down tractable 190 horsepower and handled really good. And they chopped him. And so it took him 2 more years to get started again.
Yeah.
And by the time he got up and running again, when Slick and Jeff May rode the things, they did pretty good. But then the next year was like the BMW S1000 came out, the R1 went to a cross-plane crank, like all those things, all the electronics started coming in on bikes, and his bike looked ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that thing, I remember watching that thing at Road America, and it was so good in turn 8 when May. I mean, even I just still remember the chassis was so good.
Well, it was a really stiff chassis, but then that, I know everyone dogged on that crazy front brake, but the front wheel was 9 pounds lighter than a traditional dual rotor setup. When you have a front wheel that's that light, it just helps with the way the bike handles.
Really?
Yeah.
It made that big of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't stop it.
That's why
but
James was cutting off fucking weight on his disc for this weekend.
the tricksters.
What would you say, like, the biggest thing, you know, over the course of this crazy, crazy long career, you know, looking back at it, is something that you're, I don't want to say most proud of, because it sounds like your typical question to ask at the end of a podcast or something, but what can you say, I guess, you'll take with you whenever it is that you're done with this, whether it's in the next, 5 years, whatever it is, like what of all the years of racing that you've done is like, sticks with you the most, I guess?
Always believing in myself and knowing that I had the talent and the speed to run up front. And the opportunity that was given to me, the lifeline that was thrown to me from this bagger racing and super hooligan racing, to be a racer of the recession, to come in and think that I was going to start making crazy money and then it all just get pulled out from under me, and to just live on nothing, live on scraps, risk my life for just a couple grand a year. It was just like, I always knew I could do it. And, maybe a super hooligan championship isn't as glamorous as a super sport championship or something, but, I had to beat some pretty fast dudes on a bike that didn't even have a quick shifter. So like, meeting Dave Eckert and the Saddleman guys and them giving me these opportunities and the sponsors that came in, Mission Foods, they basically threw Patricia, my wife, and I a lifeline that funded everything for us, and just this whole crazy V-twin racing.
Yeah, this whole era.
I really feel like it has just helped all these old dogs that didn't really get their fair shot.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe it is just a bunch of old dudes out there racing, but like we're still fast and we're still sending it and we're still trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool, even like, I don't know, just thinking about it as you're talking through the podcast, like, Gus Rodeo is a great example of racing Super Hooligans this year against a guy like you. And that's kind of like the old you, the younger you versus the older you, and it's kind of, it's cool because I don't think there's any other class really in the world at the moment that's kind of offering that with like the variety that Hooligans has at the moment. And, obviously like, for you guys, it's created opportunities for me, it's created an opportunity, and then, who knows where it'll go, but hopefully it's creating more of these opportunities for people to have the experiences like you had, where it's maybe you don't make, a ton of money or whatever it is, but there's seats out there, there's more bikes to ride, there's like just things to say yes to see where it takes you.
Absolutely. And, there's been some years lately, I turned 40, had a kid, having to try to defend a championship right after having a kid is by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah, it was so hard.
Just mentally or just because you're exhausted?
Well, I mean, honestly, I never had the opportunity to fully celebrate winning that championship because I literally had a kid, my first child, like 9 days later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the whirlwind of that, and then not getting to train or anything that whole winter, it was just learning how to be a dad.
Yeah.
And showing up at Daytona, and I won the first race, so I was like, okay, I still got it. But like, just the pressure of that whole year was really brutal, and I took it to the last race. I did everything I could. I rode out of my skin in race 2 at Mid-Ohio to try to beat Jimmy over here, and if that freaking head gasket hadn't have blown, I could still be wearing the number 1 plate. Yeah. But it just wasn't meant to be. It's just and I got my opportunity. I got to carry that number 1 plate, and I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah, but I think it's bullshit that you say, hey, if the Hooligan Championship isn't as glamorous. That shit it's fucking hard no matter what race championship you're in. And I will say, like, I was there when you won your championship. I feel like, I get goosebumps talking about it because I know what you did. You helped me a lot, right? And obviously we raced against it last year against the championship, but I feel like the entire paddock was like, dude,
it was a
nice
Cinderella story.
Yeah, dude,
it felt so good. I mean, it was a huge monkey off the back, and like,
you deserved it, dude. You rode your ass off.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like we all deserve to win a championship when you've been around that long. And, it was really hard because I've never been in those situations of winning races and feeling that pressure and learning how to be that guy, and. But then a couple of rounds of, the runaway win at Laguna to lead every lap and check out like that was just a place like Laguna where I finally, that was like the place that made me want to be a racer. There was a lot of crazy things that happened that year. And
I think it's just a testament to like, for hopefully kids that are watching this or whatever that are racing, it's just like, just keep showing up.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, what do you tell somebody in the younger generation? It's got to be persistent.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to do it, you got to go get it. It's not gonna come to you. There's been so many times where I was like, man, I just wish one of these big team owners would come over here and offer me a ride. It's not gonna happen, dude.
Yep.
You got to go out there and you have to prove to them, like with a ride.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
And you got to keep calling.
Crazy, like. I still get people to this day that come up to me and they're like, that year at Road Atlanta, when you passed everybody down into turn 10, like, I thought I was going to take all those dudes out.
Yeah.
And I managed to just keep it off everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I got sucked in and I just weaved my way through and I thought I was going to end up in the gravel trap. And, like, luckily Martine gave me some room and stood the thing up. And I just turned it in and it was like, shit, I'm leading it. But it's things like that. Like, you have to go out and just fully commit and send it like so hard to get people to notice you. And if you can't do that, and if you can't beat Trey Beatty at a WERA race, you don't belong at the AMA races. It's one of those things. Like, WERA races, stuff like that don't really exist anymore to like really hone your craft. But like, you gotta, if you're not, Bobby Fong said it in his thing, like, if you can't go out and dominate a club race, you shouldn't even be coming to a MotoAmerica race. It's just not
It's the unfortunate
It's not
truth,
the
but
place.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's great advice. I also think to your point of like, hooligans not being a big thing or a spectacle or whatever. It's like, I think one of the things that I learned, especially like after even getting on the Superbike podium, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, like nobody really gives a shit, like unless you're taking home a number one plate, that's really the only thing that matters. And even then it's like you could win a number one plate and sit at home the next year.
Yeah.
You just have to enjoy it. And,
Yeah.
The work you do and
And
the guys you're racing against, and that's all that really matters. You beat those guys on their best day, and that's all it is.
Yep. I withstood the pressure of a factory Indian team,
Yes.
and we showed up and we beat their asses, you
Yeah.
know? And there was a lot of...
To be honest, dude, without that, dude, the Pan Am program wouldn't be where it is.
Absolutely.
Like, 1,000%.
Absolutely.
I can say that with my hand. If you didn't win that championship, we don't know what would have happened with the Pan Am project.
Yeah. And when we had to ride it the first year, like... The thing was such a dog. I almost wanted to tell Dave, like, I don't want to race this thing next year.
Yeah.
Man. Like, it sucks getting beat by those guys.
Yeah.
We accidentally had the velocity stacks in at Daytona, and I beat those
Yeah.
dudes, and it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of the best races of the year, and then they neutered us again, and so
Yeah.
it was just like, I ended up breaking my wrist riding that thing so hard. Like, I don't want to ride that thing if we're not competitive.
Yeah.
And so they gave us that opportunity, and it was some of the best racing we've ever seen in Super Hooligans between different manufacturers. And so, like... We raced the Indian. I was the first guy to win a Super Hooligan race on the FTR 1200. And Gary Gray was standing in our victory circle photo, but then didn't give us the time of day the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And so, like, to go back and win at Daytona on the Harley was like...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting kicked out of the museum here.
I see that.
Security's
I see
waiting
that.
for us. So
Hey, man, 25 years is hard to
I know.
put in
Dude,
two.
we need a part two
we'll do
for
a
sure.
part two. It's been.
But we
it's
have to
been
do
really-
a final thing quick.
for partners.
No, yeah, we do. But
Oh,
death row meal,
Fuck.
dude.
It's been so long since we
I
did a
know.
pod. I forgot about it.
What's your death row meal, dude?
Death row meal?
Yeah, you're definitely
Well,
on.
first of all,
you-
what are you on death row for? I'm gonna go. Probably got into a fist fight or something out back, or
Yeah, I got DQ'd after I won a race, and I punched one of the officials.
Yeah,
probably.
perfect.
Death row meal. I don't know. I'm a big fan of a steak, stuff like that. But we've all had steaks. Like, I lived in Corpus Christi, Texas, when I was a kid, and we went to this place one time or a couple times, and it was called the Crazy Cajun. And they like bring out the crab legs and the whole shrimp boil,
Yeah.
And they didn't give you any silverware. They just gave you a wooden hammer and it's like go to
yeah.
town. But like, I love crab legs. I think let's just eat crab legs until I'm gonna puke. Like, let's
Yeah,
do that.
I go for that.
Yeah.
I go for that. What are you drinking? What's your beer choice? I know you're a beer guy.
Honestly, I've
Spotted Cow.
Spotted Cow ain't a
Can't
bad.
go wrong.
That ain't bad. I
Can't
drink
go
one
wrong.
of those. Maybe might go a little harder. Might go Crown and Coke or
All right.
gin and tonic, something
Okay.
like that.
All right.
Yeah,
G&T.
Any
yeah,
dessert?
Not bad. Dude, let's do a big old slice of carrot cake. I love me some carrot cake.
Oh, me
You
too.
got
I
it,
do love
dude.
carrot
Yeah,
cake.
it's healthy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's green or
carrots
orange.
in it.
It's green. It's orange.
That little icing on the top of the carrot.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
green.
Perfect. Well, Cory, it's been great. I wish we had more time because we could probably go on for another hour or two, but we'll do a part two. We'll get you on here. We'll talk about more current stuff on the next one.
Sounds
So,
good, brother.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, and hopefully you saw my sick lid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, give us a little bit about that. What do you got going on with the
Yeah,
helmet
but
over
so
here?
you've just changed to KYT this year.
Yeah, my
Right.
buddy Brandon Cretu, the Rise Moto guy, he's been a friend of mine for a long time. I actually helped wrench on his bikes at Macau on
No
the
way.
on the EBRs. But yeah, he's been trying to put me in one of these things for a while, and so I finally let him. And it's an awesome helmet. If you haven't put one on, you should definitely wear one. They're super light. Field of vision's amazing. And they're super aerodynamic too. Like, it's
Yeah.
the first bike on the Hooligan where I don't feel like my neck has
Okay.
been in a car accident.
That helps.
afterwards.
That definitely
So
helps.
everybody, because you can get them in America here at kytamericas.com or something like that, I think.
Yep.
So they're now, and I think they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's has them.
Yeah, he's coming in hot. Everyone's wearing them now. So,
Okay. There you go. Check it out.
yeah, for sure.
Rise Moto. Thanks to our partners, Yuasa Batteries and Gulf Point Advisors. And Yeah, we'll get you back on here soon. Thanks.
Yeah,
Steve.
if you want
Thanks.
more stories, I'm always
Oh,
down.
we got
100%.
more stories coming.